every single one of these drivers, every single one of these fans, every single one of these teams know that here at Talladega, anything is possible, anything can happen. We're in the round of 8. There's only 2 races to go until we're at Phoenix for the championship, and today will play a pivotal role in that. It's the YellaWood 500 and a packed house here in Alabama. Excited to see the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's go! There is nothing like that roar here at Talladega.
Scattered restart. You can see Joey Logano leading that second pack. Did not get a good launch, but watch what that allows him to do. That space that's between him, now he's able to get a big draft. Let's see if he does anything with it. There he goes, jumps to the outside.
You know, his recent drafting track results, Steve, don't reflect how good he has been prior to that. But he just said, as we ride along with thanks to Hunt Brothers, he said, I consider us one of the favorites today.
Well, absolutely. Anytime Joey Logano gets on a drafting track, you have to have his name circled. But, you know, aggression is a great strategy to win, but it also could put you right in the kind of the eye of the storm. I agree with the plan, but, man, it's hard to stomach. You just see the 21 all the way to the top, 3 wide. I think he'll have some help. And just like that, we are knotted up 3 wide, at least, what, 12, 13 rows deep.
Chase Briscoe, Michael McDowell, Josh Berry, we're on board with Bubba Wallace with thanks to Xfinity. What a daunting sight.
Joey Logano talked about the importance of getting stage 1 points. I asked him, how aggressive are you going to be? He showed it to you right there. He immediately made it 3 wide, and now here he is in the top 10.
So this race broken up into 3 stages, as are all the Cup races. This one, lap 60 will end stage 1. You can't go that far in fuel. You can go about 45 laps, Diff, so everybody kind of positions themselves, knowing a pit stop is required, and that's going to be a big moment in this stage right here.
Bubba Wallace with an aggressive move. Is he going to clear Josh Berry? He does not, but here comes the Toyota teammate behind me for a push.
And down on that low line, look at the 8 for Richard Childress Racing, Kyle Busch. 2-time winner here at Talladega. I like what Logano told you earlier, Jeff, is that he likes the fact that his peers, his competitors, his rivals, they fear him. They know that he's still alive in these playoffs, and they're always watching him where he is, knowing that he is an ever-present threat as he tucks in behind fellow Ford driver Josh Berry.
A lot of talk about the playoffs, but Josh Berry sitting there leading this race. Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, who has had just a miserable year, one he wants to forget. Here he is in the front of this pack early in the race. You know that guy right there wants to win.
4 wide in the back now. You see SVG, that white car right in the middle, that bright yellow car, the 12 to his left is Ryan Blaney. 3 wide about Talladega is pretty manageable. 4 wide, you really run out of all the extra room needed. Now we have 4 very clear lanes of traffic. Tribal actually wider than the rest of the racetrack.
That's right. It gets really interesting as you funnel down into turn 1. The track actually gets more narrow. It's more room in the trial than it is right here.
3 rows of 4 wide, crazy. How about Ryan Preece? Sits second, right along that yellow line at the bottom as he tucks in behind Kyle Busch. Here comes Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman. Riding on board with thanks to BuiltSubmarines.com, this is Keselowski. 6-time winner here at Dega.
4 wide in your mirror now. Need to be right with you. You got to kind of be defensive. 1 lane lower, 1 lane higher. Yep, keep those 2 square. One's going to try to work the outside here. Yep.
I love that. TJ Majors giving the information. He gave him that warning about the 1 working the outside, and there he is, back to 4 wide, right there in the middle. You see it, first lane, or first group 4 wide. Brad Keselowski, 1 from the bottom, the 1 car, and him splitting the middle lane.
That got really tight. Oh, there it is, a 7 car trying to make it 4 wide on the outside of Gibbs. He made it. He made it work.
Justin Haley was announced earlier this week that he will be looking for a ride in 2026. So he's got this race and 2 more with Spire Motorsports.
Bubba Wallace was driving that race car from the mirror. He was starting to pull away from that outside lane. He saw the lane that was coming was the bottom, so he turned left and got himself positioned in front of Kyle Busch.
A lot of impatience in the middle of this field. I think some guys are trying to ride and other guys trying to go forward, and I think that's why we see that 4 wide. I love this look right here. Look at these eyes. Watch right here. Watch how much he looks up to the right there. Checking the mirror again, checking the mirror or the digital screen. Bubba Wallace continuing to see what's behind him, barely looking out front. I mean, look at him. He's not looking out the front windshield, but maybe 10–15% of the lap.
That block he made on Briscoe was all out of the mirror. He looked, he saw the momentum coming, he jumped to the middle lane. Wasn't even looking out the front windshield.
That center lane, a couple of Toyotas helping each other with Bubba Wallace and Chase Briscoe. It's Fords up on the high line, Chevy's down low with Kyle Busch, but a Ford in Ryan Preece. So a good mix in that front pack, Stevie.
Sorry, I mentioned Bubba Wallace and what he was looking at. So check this out right here. So you have the dash and the camera on top of the dash is all right there. So it's hard to see because there's 2 of them. But the one in the center, this right here, if I go right in and circle, that right there is the screen for the mirror. These cameras are on the back of the roof. It's like high def, like your street car at home. He has that right on his dash. I love Jeff that he put it underneath his real mirror. That way he probably could get 2 different looks, always looking to the right.
Yeah, a lot of drivers position those in different places. Some are comfortable on the left side, some want it to be in the center.
Top lane, 4 cars back, is the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. We said at the top of the show, his oval prowess is improving, and there is SVG. He's starting to find that groove, Jeff.
Yeah, he is. He's getting comfortable on the ovals. But this isn't, I mean, look, this is a unique animal. This type of racing is completely different than anything else done anywhere around the world. And it really takes some experience to get comfortable with it.
So far, so good for Josh Berry, doing a really nice job ahead of Joey Logano and Justin Haley, the top 3 early on here at Talladega. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs here on NBC. This is the YellaWood 500. 11 laps in. Josh Berry leads the way. Want to tell you about NASCAR 25 is available now, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. You can get the real NASCAR experience. Build your own team, race online, go door to door with the stars. Learn more at NASCAR25.com.
I've played it. Impressive, fun. Even has a little crew chief mode. I don't really spend a lot of time in there. I did that enough. I like to pretend I'm a driver.
I like to pretend I'm a crew chief.
On board with Kyle Busch. Promising start, but he has dropped back a little bit. Cheddar's onboard shows us he now runs in 18th. He was at the front of this pack not too long ago. There's been quite a bit of movement, actually. There's been some big gainers, and there's been those choosing to drop towards the back.
One thing Jeff and I noticed when we were in the pace car diff yesterday morning was that crossover. You were with us, how rough it was at the end of the backstretch. So here in the tri-oval, as we mentioned, kind of wide. That bottom lane can be a little funny on the banking. The bankings in 1 and 2, you just can't imagine just how steep it is. We stopped, and we think the car is going to tip over. It's so banked. But at the end of the backstretch, where the tunnel has been put in, there's a pretty big bump there. And I only say that because, you know, you get in these 3 wide formations, and that's when I think you can get in trouble. Is over that bump, the car can move a little bit, and we'll see. They didn't drive very good in qualifying. We'll see if they drive any better over this bump in the race. Kind of right in this area of the track.
So there's already one driver going to the championship 4. That's Denny Hamlin. He's running in 39th. Doesn't really matter today a whole lot. But Marty, it sure matters significantly for the driver of the 22. Tell us more about Joey Logano.
Oh, he'd love to get that 4th Talladega win. And Lee, I love what Jeff Burton did right after the command to start the engines, putting a spotlight on the spotters. Coleman Presley is a spotter for Joey Logano, and I spent some time with him chatting about the work that goes into super speedway racing. He said the week of a super speedway race, they'll spend about 3 or 4 hours breaking down film, but he and Joey will sit down together for 2 hours looking at film together and working on their vernacular, which they've worked on for over 2 years to try and get what Joey wants out of Coleman. Let's listen live to Coleman Presley as he works with Joey Logano on the track.
Tandem. They're the same, middle and top, inside on the bottom. Priest bubbled out. Nose ahead, or even behind, even behind, even behind, even behind, even behind, even behind. Nose ahead top. 7 fading higher, inside 88, 2 wide with him. 4 cars on the bottom, loose draft here in the middle at the 2 and 3, tighter on lane 3. That's 15 complete, 1-5.
It's a sea of information, and that view very much reflects the spotter's view, high above here at Talladega, and information just flow to the max for the drivers and helping Joey Logano out. Joey said, look, I know a win would be fantastic, but I still believe I can point my way through as Ryan Preece blasts his way into the lead, takes Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch with him. Shane Van Gisbergen tucked in there as well. Back on board with Logano. Fellas, he said yesterday, if I can finish top 5 in each of the stages and the race today, I can still point my way in after Martinsville next weekend. So he's not putting a huge weight of expectation on himself that it's a must win. He said, I still believe I can point my way in to the championship 4. Dylan Welsh, tell us about SVG.
Well, you guys noted how much better he's gotten the last couple of months on ovals. The next phase of that improvement is here at Talladega. Shane said he wants to race today. He said, usually I just tried to keep my nose clean, but the only way to get better, and I need to get better at these type of races, is to race up front. So he wants to race today. He wants to be aggressive to stay at the front of the field, and he's done that. Started 29th. He's raced in and amongst the top 5 for most of the afternoon. Good start for the 88.
Jeff, I can't imagine. The ovals themselves are challenging, but you can kind of practice that in different places. How do you practice this, right? If you didn't come up through trucks and Xfinity where drafting style things, I mean, across the globe, this is one of a kind.
It really is, and I think it boils down to you got to have experience, and I like the idea about today. Like, let's just go run as hard as we can. Let's put ourselves in the front. Let's go act like we're here to win this race, and that's how you learn. When you ride around the mid-pack, You're just trying not to get in a wreck. I'm telling you, you're not learning anything. All you're learning is, did I get in a wreck or not? And what can you do to control that? I believe if you're going to be good at this, you have to learn how to be aggressive. You have to be willing to make some moves that other people won't make. And there's going to be days it doesn't work out, and you have to be willing to live with that too. He's getting more and more used to running at the front on ovals. Last week, you remember when he was wrecked? He was in the top 5. He was right behind Kyle Larson. But he's really enjoying it. How about Denny Hamlin? We mentioned him before. Kim Kuhn, tell us more.
Yeah, and if you remember at the top of the broadcast, I said the team told me the only reward today is getting a win and keeping somebody out of locking to the championship 4. So why is he back in the 38th position riding around? Well, they also told me the only risk is Denny getting hurt. And while these cars are very, very safe, this type of racing can be dangerous. We see violent wrecks here. And so crew chief Chris Gale said, don't be surprised if we played a little safe, especially early, because I don't want Denny at the risk of getting caught up in a big one and getting injured, knowing we have that spot in the championship 4.
I personally think that's smart. I know there's some Denny Hamlin fans that are out there that are like, hey, let's go to the front. And I think when it gets toward the end of the race, you'll see Denny Hamlin be really, real aggressive to do what he can to win a race. But early in this race is the risk versus the reward. And for Denny Hamlin at 44 years old with several injuries in his past, it's a smart play.
A little bit of a separation now between the field. Seems like there's about, looking at timing and scoring, I would say there's about 18 cars in the front, 15 or 18 cars in the second group. Marty, what are you hearing out of the Hendrick camp and the 24 of Byron?
Yeah, back there with Denny Hamlin is William Byron, the regular season champ, who looked like he could have won the Vegas race last week and had that vicious wreck trying to come to pit road. I just checked in with Rudy Fugel. I said, is this by design to be back there in 33rd or 34th right now? And he said, yes, it is by design. Once we got shuffled out, we weren't going to fight for that track position. But Jeff, I love what you said. The information you're not learning right now, if you're William Byron, could be key for later in the race.
It could be key, Marty, but ultimately William Byron, I think what he's thinking, what this team has in mind, is trying to avoid the wrecks, get yourself in position. Remember, Steve talked about having to have a pit stop. Get yourself in position at the right time of this race, and there's a lot of ways to do that. And one of the ways to do it, Steve, is to save a little with fuel, make your pit stop a little bit quicker, have a good pit stop, get on pit road at the right time, and try to get your track position that you need to try to get stage points.
Valvoline bringing us this awesome splitter cam. The driver of the 24 said it took him a couple of days to get over last week's big wreck in Vegas when he was running so well. If you scan the QR code you see on your screen or visit NASCAR.com/Ford Playoffs promo to enter, you could have a chance to win a 2025 Ford Bronco Heritage Edition or an epic Bronco off-rodeo experience. Don't wait. Enter now and good luck. Lee Diffie, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton with you here on a sunny afternoon. The morning certainly didn't start that way. Cloudy, quite gloomy and rainy. It was a wet racetrack, but the weather has come our way for this round of 8 playoffs race, the YellaWood 500 here at Talladega. High protein, Thomas's high protein bagels gives us this view of Chris Buescher all over Chase Elliott.
You heard him have to come out of the throttle to keep from getting into the back of Chase. You can make contact on the straights, no problem, but if you hit a guy entering turn 3, it can turn him around. And this area of the racetrack as well. See Chase Elliott going to the bottom of the racetrack. Cars do not drive well at all through here.
Well, Jeff, there's a little bit, I think, of, I won't say panic, but a little urgency in this backpack because of this organized front line. Remember, a green flag stop required. So the standard signature is, hey, let the leaders race, run in the middle of the pack, save a little gas. Well, the leaders, to me, are getting ready to say, fine. You want to cruise? You want to ride in the back? We're going to get single file and see if we can pick up the pace and kind of drop you guys off the back. Dave.
And picking up that pace at the lead right now is Josh Berry. He's led 13 laps more than anybody so far at the front in that blue number 20 row. And remember, the Wood brothers are affiliated with Team Penske. And when I talked to crew chief Miles Stanley this morning, he said, absolutely, we are Penske family. We want to work with Joey and with Ryan and even with Austin Cindric to try to get one of those cars to victory lane. But then he said, and you know what he said next, we want to win this race. Remember, they were in the playoffs, got knocked out in the round of 16. They'd love a win today, Kim.
And for Kyle Larson running mid-pack, we talk about being successful at these tracks by minimizing the time spent on pit road. One of those elements is saving fuel. Take a listen to the Larson radio.
I just feel extremely slow. I don't know. Like, this is weird.
We're pretty bad on our fuel numbers. Need all the help you can give us now. Pretty bad on the fuel numbers.
I'm sorry.
This is worse mileage. Get back up to them if you can.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm slow.
And then Kyle later, a lap or two, said, again, I am slow. I feel every single wind gust. I need someone up on me in the back to feel like I'm not towing an anchor. So, Steve, what is Cliff Daniels, the crew chief, seeing on top of the box to indicate that Kyle does not have the fuel mileage that they are looking for?
Well, they get real-time predicted fuel usage, so it's not like a fuel gauge, but what they look at is RPM, what gear they're in, and how much throttle pedal they're using, and it gives you a fuel usage number, and Cliff Daniels is looking for that. He probably has a target of like, hey, I think we should be able to get this many miles per gallon, so we only need to stop in our pit box for this long. That's really what we're seeing through this field right now, is this fuel savings. So let's talk a little bit more about how these drivers do it, as now we see 2 wide, and let's look at our friends from iRacing who really do a good job of breaking this down, right? So at Talladega, unlike at Daytona, we see a lot more 3 wide and 4 wide racing. But one thing that is consistent, this lead car, he's doing all the work, much like an engine pulling a train around. He's braking the air. So when we look at the lead car and his numbers, look, about 5 miles a gallon because he's 100% throttle, 100% drag. He's pushing all the air. So if we go back in the pack, the air is towing these cars along. So this driver back here is 65%. Well, he can go about 6 miles per gallon. So basically a mile further for every gallon, 20 gallons in the tank. That guy could go about 20 miles further, or maybe even about 7 laps here at Talladega. They're not going to try to go further. What they're going to try to do is put less in when they stop. Shorten that green flag gas and go. It is absolutely a game of chess. This is how you do it, Jeff. Right here. That right foot, that's it. That's the magic go pedal, and that's the only way I know how to save gas at Talladega is to let off that throttle pedal.
Well, you heard it from Kyle Larson, like the confusion about, hey, I'm trying to save fuel, but I'm really, really slow. And then crew chief comes back and says, well, you're actually burning more fuel,
right,
going slower because of the pack that you're running in. So people act like saving fuel is easy. It's not. It is a very difficult thing to do, all while trying to maintain track position. We just saw what happened. It was single file in about 2 laps. That went completely away.
Then it went to 3.
And it went away because as we get closer to pit stops, you need to be in the front, and drivers start to get more aggressive. And of course, more aggressive drivers at Talladega, tends to cause crashes.
Was not that long ago, Denny Hamlin was down in the high 30s, and now he's towards the front. Progressive telemetry giving you the numbers. Noah Gragson finds himself up there. Cody Ware in the Arby's Rick Ware Racing Ford. He led 23 laps at Daytona earlier this year. He's fourth car back in that center lane.
Now it's getting squeezed together like an accordion because we're probably 5 laps away from when I expect we could probably see pit stops, somewhere between lap 35 and 45. We're not going to know because they're not going to tell us. These teams are very secretive on the radio. They're trying to come up with a plan. Jeff, I always like to come with maybe 7 to 8 cars. I don't love 12 or 14 cars. It's too many. We start to see the wreck. Too few, you don't have enough help if there's a penalty or an issue.
I agree. If you can get 4 or 5 cars to come down pit road at the same time working together, I think that's the best opportunity for success.
Exciting careers are available now nationwide, ensuring the U.S. Navy has its next generation of submarines. If you're looking for a stable, impactful career, visit buildsubmarines.com. We build giants because it takes one to build one. We ride aboard the buildsubmarines.com Ford with Brad Keselowski running at the front of the pack. Here's Marty Snyder. Marty?
Lee, we've talked about teams being willing to ride in the back like William Byron a little bit earlier, but Ryan Blaney did not mean to fall to the back. At one point, he was 36 on the field and had this to say to Jonathan Hassler. Listen in.
We need a game plan. What are we just going to ride in the back with the 2 or what? We need to have a plan.
So since being 36, after that, Hassler said, let's go to the front. Let's follow our teammate, Austin Cindric, if we can. Blaney has driven from 36 to 19th, Steve. Clearly speed in the 12 car. But if you're Jonathan Hassler, would you worry about your track position until after this pit stop coming up any minute?
Yeah, I would not worry about it until the pit stop, and here's why. Look at the leaders right there, Denny Hamlin, Josh Berry. Well, if we go all the way to the back of that pack, that's 1.2 seconds. The entire field is basically a second and a half or less. So with all of the seconds available getting on and off pit road and in your pit box, I wouldn't panic yet. Now, there may be panic at some point, but I'm not panicking yet. Post pit stop, if you don't execute correctly, then there's time to worry.
We talked about pit stops and would love to come down pit road with 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, but we've seen time and time again at this racetrack, you start getting 14, 15, 16 cars coming down pit road at the same time. Somebody doesn't judge the speed correctly of the car in front of him. They ram into the back of him and start a wreck. It's hard to get on pit road here. What you want to do is you want a little bit of information, a couple laps, 3 or 4 laps ahead of it. Hey, man, we're going to pit, right? But when you do that, you give that information to the driver, you tell it to everybody. So there's times that secrecy of not letting the teams know when you're going to pit, that hurts the driver. That puts him in a bad position of positioning his car to the bottom of the racetrack to avoid that wreck of getting on pit road.
Bottom left, you see all the spotters. Remember last week, communication or lack thereof between Ty Dillon and the 24 car. They stacked up. Well, these spotters right here, it's kind of like a cat and mouse game. Hey, we don't want to show our hand, but hey, we don't want to get run over, right? So I think you're going to see hands out the window for the drivers when they're ready to come, but I'm very interested to see what these spotters right here do, right? Do they wave to each other? Do they not? If another guy's in the binoculars, I can wave all I want. That guy's not going to see me. So how this group communicates, it's like its own little sign language up there. So impressive to watch.
And after last week's accident, there has been a crew chief change within Core League Racing. So on the 10, Ty Dillon, it's now Frank Denny Jr. On AJ Armendinger's car, TJ Bell Jr. So a change with inside Core League Racing, calling from the top of the stands.
A spotter change.
So what did I say?
Change, yes.
Did I say crew chief?
You did.
Sorry, I meant spotter. Not me.
Man, that's crew chiefs take that personally. You're
Sorry,
a crew chief.
I had to pick Steve up off the floor over here.
Head coaches is a tough job.
Xfinity Mobile, Bubba Wallace.
Hear him, how much he's out of the gas? He is way out of the gas to keep him running to the back of Joey Logano. And all that track position that Joey Logano got early in that run, it's all gone.
What a day Justin Haley's having for Spire. Look up on the high side, that yellow and black, that Cambridge number 7. He's had a really good run, a good amount of time at the front.
I bet Brad Keselowski leading this race. He has had a lot of success at this racetrack. Wants a win in the worst way.
Keeping an eye on that 6 car, see if he's gonna, he's running the bottom for a reason. That's gonna be the easiest way, as you pointed out, Jeff, to get to pit road. 22 laps to go, so you can definitely get enough gas in it at this point. We expect, I think, between probably, 3, 4, 5 second pit stops, kind of depending on how they do, how well the plug time is. The other great thing they'll do, Diff, we'll show you on the pit stop, they'll put a couple crew members standing there, and they're playing defense to their own gas man, so he can't leave the pit box. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Pit stops coming up. 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs here live on NBC. The YellaWood 500, 18 to go in the first stage, and numerous drivers indicating they're coming to pit road, and here they are.
The whole bottom lane peels off, led by the 19 of Briscoe, 42 of John Hunter Nemechek also gets to the left. Nice, organized, and clean job by these guys. We expect fuel only. You see very quick stops, Kim.
Dave Burns.
Chase Briscoe just complaining a little bit about a ride quality out of turn number 4, very bouncy, and so he's going to get just fuel only here. Also, Josh Berry, the leader of the most laps so far in his Mustang on and off of pit road.
As these guys leave, we're going to see another wave. Normally, this will come in 3 lanes. There you go, 8 car. Kyle Busch, hand out the window. So that black and bluish car leading the bottom lane, we expect him to peel off. I imagine everyone behind him on the bottom will get left. There you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, call it 10 cars, including the 9 of Chase Elliott in a scary situation, pitting from the top lane of that white car in the back. Very ill-advised to do it from there. I think that was the 11 of Hamlin.
Penalty on pit road, guys. The 19 car.
Oh, no.
Chase Briscoe too fast on entry.
2 weeks in a row, there's something that's going to hamper the 19. Here's Kim.
You see Denny Hamlin making his fuel only stop, nothing to lose. They told him to take it easy. Also fuel only his teammate Christopher Bell.
Clean and away. You see the pit stops on the left-hand side, everything from a 3.7 to a 6.0. That's the difference. You mentioned that penalty on the 19. As these cars blend, you'll see the cars on the racetrack continue. We should have one more wave of pit stops right here. Let's see what the Fords do. Do they run long? They do. They stay organized, single file. So they believe they can make more lap time like this. So they're going to stay on the racetrack. Let's take a look at this stacked up mess.
Oh, it was getting into turn 3. It was chaos.
Yeah, like Denny is right here in the top lane, and he's going to continue to lift to try to get the pit road. Look how scary this is, pitting from the top line.
And who, that was close. Almost 2 weeks in a row. And we hear there's a penalty for Kyle Busch. 2 quick exiting. So it was Briscoe on entry. It was Busch on exit.
And they're both right here. That's Kyle Busch, bottom right, maroon and blue nose. You see that bright orange paint scheme of the 19. Cars on the top of the cars who have yet to pit, the Fords, and they have picked up the pace. A half a second faster than the field was running pre-pit stops. So this has to be by design. Well, here you go. Left-hand turn, a little messy though. Only 3, call it 6 cars. I don't hate that number if they could stay organized.
I like this number. I think it's easier to get on and off pit road. Marty.
See Joey Logano coming to pit road. He has been shuffled out 3 times, worked his way back to the front each time. Here's the problem. He did that with Josh Berry helping him. Berry is already pitted. His other teammate, Ryan Blaney, still on the track.
As the Fords leave, here is the lead pack. Right side was Briscoe serving his penalty. The car coming into view will be the 8 of Kyle Busch, but he has a penalty. Let's see how quickly these guys get organized. It happens quick, Diff. 3 laps, 200-mile-an-hour leapfrog.
And we've got a lot more takers this time round as well.
Yeah, Hendrick Camp, 24, 9, 5, 48. All 4 Hendrick cars coming together. The Chevy group, we'll see how organized they are, Marty.
You see William Byron coming to pit road. He spent most of that run in the back, going to be fuel only for him, and Ross Chastain had to make a hard left to make his pit stall.
Same story for Chase Elliott in the 9. Marty ran at the back of the top 20 most of the stint, but Alan Gustafson said mileage was good there. Short fuel only stop, Kim.
And Kyle Larson, you see there, already done. 3 seconds of fuel he took on that stop.
Well, the 24 is going to lead the group off from pit road, all because of a 3.5-second pit stop. Remember, this car rode around the back, saving gas. They're going to try to get up to speed and see if they can blend in front of this pack, which is closing on them very quickly.
Joey Logano, Noah Gragson, side by side. Here they come.
That side-by-side slowed this pack down just a little bit. I thought Joey Logano was in great shape to lead this race. I still think it's going to work out for him, Marty.
Here come the last of the Fords, including Ryan Blaney, who was able to keep his wingman, Austin Cindric. Meanwhile, his teammate Joey Logano lost his wingman, as we mentioned, in Josh Berry.
Speeding penalty for the 1 of Ross Chastain. Meanwhile, Gragson gets ahead of Logano.
Yeah, you saw the Hendrick cars, the duo, unable to put a defense to this pack. So now most of the cars have cycled. There's Kyle Busch serving his penalty. The Fords leaving, and this is not going to work for the Fords. They are going to have no defense on this pack of 15 or 18 cars that are coming. I believe they're just not going to have the overall pace running around the flat. Remember, they run the apron of 1 and 2 here.
They're going to get swallowed up.
They absolutely are. Here you go.
Cindric left right behind his teammate Ryan Blaney, but here comes the pack.
Oh, they just can't pull. Oh, they're going to split them. This is scary.
Cindric is left in the middle, so is Blaney. They just get swamped.
Yeah, that was a dangerous move by those two drivers. I think what they tried to do is they wanted them to split them because they could catch the pack quicker. Trouble right there with the 77.
He had some sort of issue. He went up the track slow. I don't know if he has a flat or
right rear.
Right rear, so an issue on the 77. That could have been area. There's chaos kind of everywhere. 12 to go. Now you have to get organized. We talked all of pre-race about points, stage points, finishing position. And here he is, Joey Logano inside the top 5. That yellow and red car at the bottom. He's trying to do it. You look around, not a lot of other playoff cars. His teammate Blaney working the 3rd lane. A lot of strategy for 50 laps. Now it's an all-out sprint to the finish of the stage.
AJ Allmendinger was one of those earlier stoppers. He stopped on 43. For Brad Keselowski fans, this is what puts your driver back, way further back than where he was. He came in at the front of the pack, ahead of Chase Briscoe, was in good shape, and this is the Briscoe penalty.
Yeah. Trying to get as much speed as you can, getting onto pit road. You see him locking the tires up. Just does not get it slowed down in that section.
Last week, it was a crew hiccup. This week, that was driver hiccup. Unfortunate for them with 10 to go. It's not the big one, but it's big enough to affect multiple cars and teams and a playoff driver in Chase Elliott. That's AJ Allmendinger. He had rocketed from 35th to the lead. Justin Haley was one of those constants at the front in the lead pack. Damaged car, damage for Allmendinger, damage for Elliott. Coming to the final 8 laps of the first stage. And it all broke loose on the backstretch heading to 3. That's AJ Allmendinger's car. AJ out of the car. And the AMR safety team and track workers there to assist him. There's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was the defending race winner. He's out. Noah Gregson in the 4. He's out. There's 8+ cars were involved in this incident. Eric Jones, Legacy Motor Club.
He's been able to get back to pit road, and under yellow they can continue to work. 9 of Chase Elliott, heavy damage.
And AJ Allmendinger up on his feet. So AJ's in that 16. Gregson's up above him. And it was Jones into Gregson, Allmendinger, and there's more contact to come.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a lot. It was time to go. Big push from the 43 to the back of the 4. Just turns the 4. Turns him around to the left, catches the 16. He goes up and makes a really big impact. Look at the front of the field right here. 2 big hits. The 16, oh, that 7 as well. So many big hits into that safer barrier.
It's 2 very common wrecks at Daytona and Talladega. This is one of them. Eric Jones pushing the 4 car, trying to propel him forward. It just did not get it timed up right on corner entry. And around he goes.
Here's the view from Austin Dillon.
Nothing you can do. He got as far left as he could, and they just wrecked down in front of him. On board with Chase Elliott. Every playoff driver's fear right there. You're in line doing nothing wrong. The wreck happens and you're in the middle of the storm.
And he got really good information from his spotter. He lifted. You could hear him lift. The spotter saw that. He lifted, doing everything he could, but everybody trying to avoid this, they just collect behind it. That's what's so frustrating from a driver standpoint here, is you really are a victim of other people's mistakes at a higher rate here than other places.
12 of Blaney just snuck through. What a big hit for Justin Haley. That right front corner flattened on the 7. He comes down and gets Cindric.
An escape for Suarez there.
And then AJ Allmendinger, you saw a car on fire, a stream of fluid coming out the back of it.
Here is AJ's view.
Oh, that is such a big hit. I mean, here you are thinking you have a shot to win this stage, and next thing you know, you're wrecked in the infield care center. That's how quickly things change here. Hope AJ's okay. We watch these wrecks and we forget how big of an impact they are, and trust me from experience, and Dale Jarrett will verify it. It is painful experience. That's why drivers are so nervous coming here.
So as the 9 team go to work for Chase Elliott, right towards the end of stage 1, things came undone. And Blair Gribben, founder of the Lulu Strong Foundation, has been named YellaWood's 5-star hero for her dedication to helping others. Gribben is recognised for funding prosthetic research and supporting people who have experienced limb loss after her daughter Lulu survived a shark attack. Anne was the race's honorary starter, while Lulu served as Grand Marshal. She and her guests also enjoyed sweet tickets, a VIP garage tour. In addition, YellaWood is donating $10,000 to the Lulu Strong Foundation in Gribben's honor. Very important cause, and we say thanks to YellaWood for that very generous contribution as well. So still under caution after that multi-car accident involving playoff driver Chase Elliott.
Pit road open, so all of the cars that aren't concerned for points will come down pit road, and for that reason you see so many playoff drivers stay on the racetrack. Byron decided to stay out. We will have this is a quickie yellow, which means basically lead lap and lap down cars can all pit at once, so I imagine we're going to see a start with maybe 2 to go. Kim.
And Larson, one of the playoff drivers that elects to come. They'll put 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, no changes because the handling seems fine. Larson just apologetic, saying it's really draggy. I got to figure out what lane is best for pulling me along to save fuel, Dave.
Josh Berry will get 4 Goodyear tires and a fill of Sunoco fuel. This time a full fill, they hope. Last time they had issues with the can itself. They said their execution was fine, but we're going to have to bring you back down because we didn't get a full.
So they're all serviced. Joey Logano is at the front of this field, and there's just 4 laps left in stage 1. Here's the reason again why we are under caution. Huge hit to the likes of AJ Allmendinger, Noah Gragson, and many others. If you're a Chase Elliott fan, these are not the images you wanted to see. Chase has stepped out of his car, and it's day done. That's going to put him in a really tough position headed to Martinsville next week, the final race in the round of 8. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I would say also, though, that there's a lot of racing left to go, so he may not be the only playoff driver sitting in the garage before this thing is over.
There's not a lot of laps, but the racing will be intense. We will see the green flag with 2 laps to go to end the stage. Remember, the top 10 receive points. So if you're 11th on back, the finish doesn't matter as far as the point situation, but all the playoff drivers are going to do everything they can to get inside that top 10.
Joey Logano, Ty Gibbs as they enter the Busch Light restart zone. Here we go to finish off the first stage. Pretty even restart. The pole sitter, Michael McDowell, is pushing Joey Logano. Chevrolet and Ford on that bottom lane. Chevrolet doing the pushing in the hands of McDowell. A Toyota on the top side. 2 Toyotas, 3 Toyotas on the top side.
This outside lane should have a little bit of an advantage. There's no help on the bottom as far as pushing. There it is. That was it. That's why that happened right there. As the bottom lane was not as organized.
John Hunter Nemechek giving Ty Gibbs a brilliant push. Let's see what Logano can do to respond. They come down to that low line.
See the cars falling back off the pack. Remember, not in the top 10. They want to avoid this last lap. It's going to be crazy.
1 to go, presented by Credit One Bank.
Blaney made the most of that restart. Picked up a lot of spots, 4 spots.
2 guys who needed to perform today, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, are in the right time, right spot, right time. Here comes Tyler Reddick. Couple of Toyotas at the front of this pack. Coming to grab as many stage points as they can. The playoff drivers, in terms of Blaney and Logano, are the lead 2. Then Christopher Bell is the next one. Grabbing as many points as they can. But who's going to get them all? It's tight between Reddick and Gibbs. Really tight. Who do they give it to? Reddick. No, they switch it at the end. It's Gibbs. Grabs the maximum points.
Out there, Ty. Good practice for later.
That was fun. That was really close.
That was a great point. Good practice for later. Love that. Let's put ourselves in position to learn what we can and cannot do at the end of this race to win it.
That's 0.004 of a second right there. That's what it looks like. And good points to playoff drivers Blaney, Logano, and Christopher Bell will grab 1 for himself. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by YellaWood, brand pressure treated pine. If it doesn't have that yellow tag, you don't want it. Brestree, please visit us at brestree.com. And by Progressive, save when you bundle motorcycle, RV and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. All right, pit lane is getting busy and our Marty Snyder is there.
Lee, what a terrific back half of stage one for Ryan Blaney. He gets seven stage points, I should say. They've had some radio issues on the 12. Meanwhile, 22 of Joey Logano said he's loose in traffic. Way different when he's out front, Dylan.
Good first stage for Ty Gibbs. 4 tires bottom left of the screen, and Tyler Reddick's service already down and complete.
Yeah, Tyler quiet about the car. Didn't ask for anything except for a tear off. You saw those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They waited on fuel.
Certainly was productive for the 2 Penske drivers who needed those points. Whoa, look at that, Anthony Alfredo, the wrong way in his box.
Back at Talladega, stage one in the books. Ty Gibbs gets the win in stage one. It kind of ended with a big wreck in turns 3 and 4. Dylan Welch is with A.J. Allmendinger.
Well, good to see A.J. Allmendinger up and on his feet after a hard crash just a few laps ago. How are you feeling now, and ultimately, what was your view of everything that went down over there?
I feel all right. It knocked the breath out of me, and then as I stopped it, I felt like the car was catching on fire, so got out and tried to get my breath back. Feel okay now. I'll probably be sore. Hard hit from my old body, but yeah, I mean, was proud of our guys. Black Tire Chevy got it up front there, and you know, I kind of make these decisions on after the pit stop, and you get to the front, and maybe we'll go run to the end of the stage, and hell, I think we're leading there. So Joey was doing a really good job pushing me in the right areas, and I felt like we could kind of direct both lines. Obviously, I had Noah next to me, and looked like Noah got turned getting in the corner, and it turned me straight up in the fence. So disappointing. That's why I hate this place, but it's part of this racing, and at least we were up front for a little bit there. Sucks to have it happen so early, but end of the day, I get to kiss Tara and Arrow, and I'll be a little sore. It'll be my excuse when I play Trent on my golf game why he's got to give me strokes now. But other than that, just disappointing, but always expect the worst here and hope for the best, and today we got the worst.
Good to see A.J. Allmendinger out of the infield care center. Marty Snyder, Dale Jarrett joining you from the Peacock pit box. And DJ, you said in Countdown to Green, the must-perform driver of the day was Ryan Blaney. And man, he did it in the second half of stage one.
Yeah, but he had to work for that. He ran a lot in the back there. They played the strategy perfect, and he got in the right lane on that restart. Actually scored more points than his teammate Joey Logano, who needed points too, but he ran up front the entire time.
You made an interesting comment about Kyle Larson. Yep. Is there concern for you about the pace of the 5 car?
Yes, for a number of reasons. That's hard. When you don't have what you feel is the power to go, you're having to use more fuel. And in today's world, in this race, a lot of that is predicated where you can do and how much fuel you need to use to get the track position that you need.
Boy, Lee, what an eventful stage one. Getting ready to go here for stage 2.
It was wild. I just want to jump back real quick to A.J. Allmendinger. I've known A.J. since he was a teenager. He is such a tremendous talent. He has won in open wheel racing cars. He has won in sports cars. He's won in any form of stock car. And that guy had charged from 35th to have a chance to win that stage. He might be 43, like he said. His old body's going to hurt a little bit, but that guy is the ultimate competitor.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And he talked about hating this racetrack. Well, a lot of drivers feel the same way. And then you win one and you love it. It's just such a challenge. DJ did a great job of talking about Blaney and the job he did, Logano, the job that he did, getting points. They're so good at it, but now, Steve, they're all the way in the back. They pitted to put fuel in. They're actually under penalty right here, so they'll have to restart single file on the bottom lane, but the 2 Penske cars are nose to tail.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a big problem. You see that big line of single file cars. That's because they topped off. That's the penalty you talked about. The 3 of Austin Dillon will actually have to give a lap back. He topped off as the free pass, which is a penalty. He has damage from the wreck, but rinse and repeat.
Stage 2, let's get it started. Chris Buescher and Ty Dillon lead this field to green. Josh Berry's tucked in behind Ty. Down on that low line. Jeff, I can't help but think how good this has got to feel for Kyle Busch. Kyle has been in that front pack the majority of the day. He's the 2nd car on the top lane. Keep your eye out for that Cheddar's number 8.
Big push right there. You can see the inside line, made a move on the 10. Ty Dillon, he's stuck in the middle. Like the 10 of Ty Dillon had a little bit of debris on his grill. Now it's off. Now it came off. He got in the middle of that pack, and it came off, so that's a good thing for him, or the engine would have overheated.
Cheddar's on board in the smaller box. The view of Kyle behind the wheel chasing Chris Buescher. Keeping an eye on Josh Berry. Buescher's teammate Ryan Preece is within touch as well. Remember, RFK still in search of that elusive first win for season 2025.
Think about, you know, bad luck that turns into good fortune. Remember, it was Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe that had penalties. And while serving the penalty, it cycled them out of the pack when the wreck happened. So now we have Briscoe up here running 5th, the highest playoff driver. Not that you want to be under penalty. There he is, left side of the screen there, that bright yellow spoiler on the 19, but he wasn't in the mess of the pack because he was serving a penalty.
Riding along with Brad Keselowski, the BuildSubmarines.com cam. Watch Brad Keselowski. He is one of the most aggressive pushers in the field. See him give a shot to the 11 car. This part of the racetrack, you really don't want to be hitting each other. Car gets unloaded through this trial board. If you hit somebody at the wrong time, it'll just spin them right out.
Brad Keselowski's got to be saying, when is my time this year? Because he finished 2nd at Bristol, was leading until a caution with 12 to go. He was leading at Pocono when he pit on a closed pit road. He finished 2nd at Atlanta. He was passed on the last lap for the win, and he finished 3rd at Iowa after leading 68 laps. So when is it going to be Brad Keselowski's time? Maybe today. Maybe it could be win number 7 for the driver of car 6.
And as we ride along, the spotter, I can promise you, is telling him, you can push the 11. There's nobody in front of Denny. It's all clear. Push him as hard as you can. Let's see if he can get to him. Sometimes Denny could drag the brake just a little bit, pull himself back to Brad.
Denny now. Chris is thinking about moving up.
Yep, so now the 21 car, Josh Berry jumped in that outside lane. That completely changes now what Brad can do in regard to pushing the 11. If he pushes the 11 too hard at the right time, it actually pushes the 21. He can actually wreck the 21. Dylan.
I asked Jeremy Bolins, his crew chief, what makes Brad so good here, and he said, well, he just has a little extra swagger when he walks into this place. Confidence goes a long way here. They told Brad pre-race on the radio, get to the front early and stay there. They started 20th, got up towards the front at the end of stage 1. Here they are again. Brad likes his car in the 6 car, Marty.
Dylan, you saw Josh Berry jump up to that top lane that Jeff Burton mentioned a moment ago. Now trying to keep Denny Hamlin behind him, and there might be a reason. Coleman Presley told Joey Logano, his driver, that Hamlin is pushing the pace pretty hard, so they have the 21 jump up in front of him. So, Jeff, if you do that and you're Josh Berry, can you intentionally kind of slow down Denny Hamlin to kind of get the pace you want to save fuel for Joey Logano deeper in the field?
You might can slow that one lane down, but there's 3 wide, and you can't control all of that. And look, Josh Berry is a great teammate for sure to those Penske drivers, but Josh Berry's here to win this race. He is here to win a race for the Wood brothers. Saw those guys before the race, and you know the history that they have in this sport is long, and that was a big move. But Wood brothers want to win this race.
What we were grimacing at was Chris Buescher easing his way up in front of one of his bosses and one of his teammates.
I don't know if this was by design or by chance. I guess by design. Brad leaves him a little room. Chris slides up in there.
I think that was design and communication. Spotters working together. Let's get lined up in this outside lane. It's not only 2 RFK teammates, it's also another Ford with Josh Berry.
Speaking of Berry, Josh has led the most laps of anybody today at 19. Kyle Busch right alongside him. Kyle has led for 9, and that was Kyle's first laps led since Kansas earlier this year.
Riley Herbst. How about Riley Herbst in the bottom lane?
Yeah, and Anthony Alfredo right behind him. We saw him backwards on pit road. Cody Ware behind him in the 51. Organized on that bottom.
Let's go for a ride with thanks to Toyota. Here's Denny Hamlin.
In line with you, 71, half in front, half. 71, 10, 54, 45, 24 out back. One in front, 1, 3/4, half, quarter, still quarter.
Well, just off to the right, that orange and black 17 of Chris Buescher. Let's talk more about him with Dave Burns.
Lee, when I talked to his crew chief, Scott Graves, this morning, he said, it's been a long time since we talked as an organization about working together. That's the orange and black Ford and the one behind him, Brad Keselowski, and also Ryan Preece in the 60 car. He said, we spent a lot of time talking about working together like we did back in 2023. We kind of got away from that the last couple of years or the last few times at drafting tracks, but they're going to try to do it today. You saw Brad early, the only one up front, now together within reach of each other in those Fords.
Well, working together, they have them all lined up, right? With their 2nd, 3rd, and 5th car on the outside line, those 3 RFK Fords. On the bottom, we mentioned Riley Herbst and Anthony Alfredo with those 2 Penske cars using that gap to the bottom lane to kind of pull back up into the field.
That purple and black 62, the little dude's wipes car of Anthony Alfredo. It's only his 2nd race in Cup this year, the Xfinity Series regular. This has been a super impressive run for Riley Herbst. Great qualifying yesterday.
Remember a few years ago at this racetrack, Riley Herbst did an incredible job. Had a chance to win. Just didn't work out for him. Also in that pack, the 4th car on the outside row, Austin Hill in that 33 car. He has the most drafting type racetrack wins in the Xfinity Series. He's really, really comfortable with these racetracks. Won the race yesterday.
He's in the United Rentals Chevy for Richard Childress Racing. He's got Ryan Preece right behind him.
Kyle Busch leading this race, you just have to think about, Steve, when you've had a year like he's had, you almost start thinking about, okay, how's this going to end? Like, what's going to happen today to take us out? And I think you really have to try really hard to get that out and focus on the positives. This is a chance today. We've seen the speed in that car. They got a break, got a caution at the right time, overcame a pit road penalty. That was the first positive of the day. They had a negative, but then they had a positive. This could be the day for Kyle Busch to get this thing turned around.
He said earlier this week, Steve, that he thought about a couple of weeks ago going back through each race and kind of analyzing what put him in a bad position and how it eventuated. And then he said to himself, no, that's not a good thing for my mental health. I'm going to forget about that and focus forward.
Yeah, I mean, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about a driver that's won 63 times. You know, Denny Hamlin, look how emotional he was a week ago getting to 60 and that top 10 list. Well, a couple ahead of him is Kyle Busch, a two-time champion, 63 race wins. Now he's on a 90-race winless streak. Some more positive news, or at least some momentum heading into next year. Jim Pullman, as reported in the pre-race by Marty Snyder, will move from Junior Motorsports. Justin Allgaier's championship crew chief from last year will move over to crew chief for Kyle Busch next year.
Good comeback from a penalty earlier. Kyle Busch at the front, being pushed by Riley Herbst. Good stuff. This is the YellaWood 500 as the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue here live on NBC. 41 laps to go in this second stage here at Talladega. Time for a Toyota driver update. And as we stand right now, there is the Bass Pro Shops Toyota of Chase Briscoe at the front. He's got his teammate and the first driver confirmed in the championship for Denny Hamlin, who we now ride with right behind him. No pressure on this guy today. other than to keep it clean and to get it to the checkered flag. We're already seeing him in Phoenix. Time to check in with Marty for an update.
Lee, stage 1, Joey Logano ran up front, but if you're paying attention to the 22 in stage 2, he's lagging back like he is right now with his teammate Ryan Blaney on purpose. He has a gear oil temperature issue at plus 45. He's mentioned it to Paul Wolfe a couple of times and said it's really getting hotter the longer they run. When he gets a gap, Steve, he can cool it down a little bit. I just asked Paul Wolfe, are you concerned about that? He said not yet, but if it stays at that temperature, then I will be concerned.
So every car runs the same transaxle, which is where the gear oil temperature will be measured. Everyone has the opportunity to cool it the same, but every bit of cooling comes through the quarter window. That cooling adds drag, slows the car down. So the teams themselves reduce it down to whatever they think is manageable. So obviously Paul Wolfe, Team Penske have a plan. So I don't know if they're just over, you know, or too much restriction, or maybe there's a piece of debris or something in there that's hurting the actual airflow. Something they'll have to keep an eye on as the race goes on. But how about this? As the field slowed to save, the Penske cars hung a left, Jeff, and drove right to the front.
Just showed right to the front in one lap. And I will tell you, from the cooling of that gear oil, where that cooling comes from, in cleaner air up front, it will get more air.
Yes.
You know, in the back of the pack, it has less air back there because of the turbulence. So now that he's got this track position, let's see if he still complains about it. Let's see if that temp comes down. That move right there may have been more about that gear oil issue than perhaps track position.
Whoa, big move at the front. Man. Right down in front of Michael McDowell, Anthony Alfredo. That was a crash that didn't happen. My goodness.
I don't know if Alfredo thought he was going to go block the 71. It could get in front of him, but look at this. From the third lane to the first lane, not clear.
Wow. Great evasive action from Michael McDowell. Here's the view from Chase Briscoe. He must have been saying, oh, I'm in the middle of it.
You know, Anthony Alfredo doesn't run this series all the time, so you don't really trust that guy. Nothing against him. He's a good little race car driver. It's just they don't have a lot of experience racing with him. So when he makes that kind of move, they're like, whoa, what's this guy doing? Concerned everybody.
Back on board with Briscoe. Josh Berry up to the right. Logano down low. Toyota on board, bringing us these awesome pictures, broaching 190 miles an hour, 3 wide here at Talladega. We're talking about Michael McDowell there, Dave. Tell us more.
Well, his spotter, Michael Fisher, said, we really don't want that 62 to get in front of us. Well, that wasn't because of how Anthony drives, but that was a fuel save issue. The 71 is still very, very quick. Remember, on the pole this weekend, fastest car in the field after not qualifying on pole for this season of the drafting track races this year. So happy to be there, still could win this race. And very quick, as long as they don't get wrecked out, Dylan.
And Dave, as Jeff mentioned, Anthony Alfredo, a full-time NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, but consistently races really well at Talladega. Has 2 career Cup top 10s here at Talladega and has 4 top 10s at Talladega in the Xfinity Series. Something else to note, his day job, so to speak, is the Hendrick Motorsports simulator driver. So he does all the sim and R&D work for every other Hendrick Motorsports team. Good opportunity for him to be exposed to his team at that level of the sport.
And I would add to that, I believe a sim driver, a guy that's in there working for Hendrick, having track time is very important. You know, you can kind of fool yourself in those simulators if you don't have real world experience. So him running full-time Xfinity, running part-time Cup, I think that's an advantage to what he's doing, trying to help Hendrick Motorsports.
Joey Logano tucked in behind Michael McDowell. With Blaney, his teammate, tucked in behind him. Remember, they came in to this second race in the round of 8, second and last in the playoff point standings. A big performance needed today, and so far, so good for the 22 and the 12. Marty, tell us more about Blaney.
Yeah, Lee, we talked about the gear oil issues for Joey Logano. His teammate Ryan Blaney also having issues. Listen in.
Very sporadically. I know the 22 wants to go, so I pulled down 40.
Well, that's against our plan, so I need to know if it's a new plan.
But we do our own.
So Ryan Blaney's been having radio issues the entire day, Steve. In fact, at one point when he was coming to pit road at the end of stage 1, he said, I'm just guessing what channel we're on. Everybody on the same page now. They're on channel 2. He can hear his spotter Tim Fedowa, but the team having a whole lot of trouble hearing Blaney. So I guess if you're going to have radio issues, Steve, that's the right direction to have them.
Well, yeah, and radio issues are frustrating everywhere, but here they're more than just frustrating. They can hamper your performance. But a little of that frustration is there, and I agree with this frustration. Race car drivers, crew chiefs, teams, they like to operate on their own. This whole plan, we have to have a plan, everybody have a plan, it can be frustrating at times. It's like vacationing with a bunch of friends. If I want to do what I want to do, I don't want to have to follow the group. And Ryan Blaney is a champion. Joey Logano is a champion. So I know they mean well and they want to work together. But at some point, you just want to do what you think is best for you. I work for Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and both drivers, while respecting others, did what they thought was best for their race cars, and I will tell you both won a lot of speedway races operating that way.
Vacation with friends is like fresh fruit. Eventually it gets old.
Oh, look at you. All those comedians out of work. I like it, Div.
Cody Ware in the 51. The Arby's Ford for Rick Ware Racing. He's at the front again, and how quickly it can change because he was at the back of the pack just a few laps ago. Talladega continues when we come back. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card. And by Chewy. For life with pets, there's Chewy with everything. Back at Talladega, and there was a considerable wreck earlier in this race at the end of stage 1. Multiple cars, drivers are out of this race, and a little earlier, Dylan Welsh caught up with Chase Elliott.
Well, the day ends really kind of before it begins for Chase Elliott, and they'll have some work to do heading to Martinsville next week. What's your perspective just on the crash and ultimately the assignment for Martinsville?
I mean, the assignment's very simple, right? I don't know about the crash. I haven't seen it back, but, you know, I saw someone get turned sideways, was trying to get slowed up, you know, like normal, and I ended up getting turned sideways and slid into some people, and then they slid back into me. So I'm not really sure about that. But yeah, I hate it. I felt like we had ourselves in a good spot before the cycle. I didn't feel like we executed the cycle very well. That put us back in the back again. I'm not sure if that would have helped us miss the wreck or not. Obviously, all that's very circumstantial, but nonetheless, it is what it is. I can't change it now, so just all eyes on Martinsville and try to go up there and get a win.
Well, he's won at Martinsville before, and he would dearly love to. He needs to do it again.
Okay, several drivers talked about trying to do all the little things right. He talked about executing the cycle. What did that mean? Well, under green flag pit stops, if you came in running 15th, try to come out running better than that, not worse, right? And all those, he had multiple packs coming down pit road. We're going to see it here in just a few laps again. And some people do find a way to come in to leave pit road in a better spot than they came into it. And if you don't do that, and the further back you get back in the pack, the wreck happens in front of you, it's easier to get in it.
Yeah, driver we haven't really talked about much today is now second car inside row 41. Cole Custer on the scene. He's kind of running behind that Cody Ware car, that Arby's machine you see on the front left. Behind him, Cole Custer. Behind him, Bubba Wallace, and then Riley Herbst. So a couple 2311 drivers nose to tail. Oh, excuse me. That's Ty Gibbs. Two Monster Energy cars. Got me confused. They were nose to tail earlier.
I know.
And I was glad I wasn't a spotter. I'd be spotting the wrong one. So I'm sorry. That's Ty Gibbs in that Monster Energy car.
Custer had a top 5 at the summer race at Daytona, so he likes this type of racing.
There's Todd Gilliland in the 34 Loves machine for front row.
That's another car that just always seems to matriculate to the front at these speedway races. A little bit of a down year for Todd. So maybe this, we talk about the playoffs and what this race could provide. It could be a great run, perhaps that first win for driver 34.
See, Kyle Busch jumped up to the outside. He saw some momentum being built by that 21 of Josh Berry. He jumped up to the outside, tried to block that momentum. Now down to the bottom. Trying to be in the middle lane. Michael McDowell, the pole sitter, now is behind him, now back up to the top. He made that block by just inches.
And this constant change is very emblematic of the way that this race has gone today, because 40 drivers started the race and 20 different drivers have led. It's been pretty cool so far, Dylan.
And good to see Kyle Busch back at the front of the field. Was close to the front last week at Vegas. Gritty day, finished in the 8th spot. Kyle spoke to the media this week and said consistently having days up front is when you know that what you're doing is right. Talladega is kind of a different beast, but they've been up front all day, qualified 3rd. Good to see the 8 car back up front where he's won in the past.
I will say we're about 10 laps away from pit stops. And with that wreck, we now have 7, call it 8 cars. 7 are out of the race, 78 off the pace, multiple laps down, so 8 cars kind of off pace. You just have to be even a little bit cleaner, right? The field's a little smaller, so it doesn't change the strategy. You still want to get to pit road with 7, 8, 9, 10 of your friends or your associates and get back on the racetrack. But we saw 2 speeding penalties. One was Kyle Busch, who's obviously recovered. The other was 19 of Briscoe. We heard Chase Elliott, as you just did a nice job explaining about he didn't think they executed the cycle. So all of that's going through this mind. And when you look at those points earned, Blaney, Logano, and Bell, the 3 of playoff drivers that have earned stage points today.
It's very difficult to do it. It's difficult to execute the cycle. And the team I think does it best are the Penske teams. If you look throughout the races, they tend to leave pit road better than they ended it. And almost every one of these races, they find themselves at the end in the front, having a chance to win. I'm not saying they win them all, because they certainly don't, but they do an incredible job of putting themselves in position.
And it's twofold. I believe some of it is, well, threefold. Engine shop, Doug Yates, this Ford power plant, knows how to make power by saving gas. Drivers save gas, and then they do a great job of putting fuel in. Look at the left-hand side of your screen. Ford, top 3, Logano being the top at fastest fuel-only average stop. Remember, they're all running the same distance, so we're comparing. So he averages less than a 3-second pit stop, which tells me that they're burning less, and they're also very, very efficient by plugging that can in, and Joey does a nice job of stopping in a perfect spot in the pit box.
Just little things matter. We have heard about the Penske fuelers, how everybody on pit road has watched how they position their body to get the can plugged into the car and then stay plugged in as long as they can. You know, just a few tenths of a second make a difference in how much fuel can flow into that fuel cell.
Well, you put in about 1.8 gallons a second. That's a good way to think about it. Call it just under 2 gallons a second. So if I'm a half a second longer than you, right, that's a whole gallon going in my car. That's a lot. It's almost 2 laps.
The 40-year-old veteran, a legend of this sport, Kyle Busch, has enjoyed 22 laps out in front. You're watching the YellaWood 500 here on NBC, a crucial round in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. You're right on board with Brad Keselowski, looking at his teammate, Chris Buescher up ahead. Kyle Busch down low, Ryan Blaney immediately to the left. Let's check out the Xfinity fastest laps, and Christopher Bell owns the best one today, ahead of Justin Haley and Cody Ware.
And remember, that is a point. That fastest lap will award Christopher Bell a point if he's able to keep it for the next 87 laps.
They had all the Penske cars, including the 21 car, in the same lane. Josh Berry and Joey Logano, they changed lanes, and that put the 12 by himself on the bottom.
I think we're closing in on green flag pit stops. I'm hearing about 102, 103.
Whoa, what a move.
Logano went down to the low line. Kyle Busch decides to react immediately and go up to that second lane.
They were trying to get all the Penske's back together.
They are.
And when they did that, it gave Kyle Busch an opportunity to go back and get the lead.
Put another Ford in there as well with the Front Row Motorsport 34 of Todd Gilliland, Marty.
Yeah, Lee, you may look at that and say on that bottom line, that's 3 Team Penske cars working together, but they do count on that front row Ford of Todd Gilliland to work with him. Remember, Penske and front row share information, and in their pre-race meeting today, it was saying, hey, front row, you've got to help us Penske cars. They expect Todd Gilliland to help out, Kim.
Well, Marty, I talked with Todd, asked him his priorities. He said, priority number 1, me and my 34 team, then my front row teammates, then the Fords in general. He said, you have to be selfish to win these races. So, yes, expect me to play nice for 99% of the race, but then at the end, it is every driver for himself.
Excuse me, stand aside, here I come, says Chase Briscoe in that third lane. Toyota onboard shows us this view. There's Austin Hill and Ryan Preece. They have a bit more momentum.
We're closing in on that moment. You see a lot of shuffling. That's because plans are trying to be orchestrated. Teammates are trying to get together. If you're Chase Briscoe, you got to assume he's a lap or two away, pitting from the third lane. Although Hamlin did it on the last time, definitely it wasn't the most efficient. Ford's lined up down the bottom, still waiting to see hands out the window. You don't see anything yet. It'd be right down that left side. Everything's pretty clean. Pace is picked up, though. They've picked up 2 seconds over the last 2 laps. No more fuel. This is full speed ahead. Kind of tumbling towards the pit stop. 17 to go in the stage.
Haven't seen much of William Byron today. Looking for a rebound after last week where he was a prominent car, a lead car, and crashed out with that awkward situation with Ty Dillon. It's today going to be the rebound that he and his crew chief Rudy Fugle are looking for. The Valvoline onboard shows you how he is in the middle. Jeff, as a driver, what's that like? Do you sometimes get almost like claustrophobic that you can't go anywhere and you're constantly looking for options?
You're constantly looking to see what the guys around you are doing to make sure if they make a move that is detrimental to you, you have time to answer for it. What you're afraid of right now, because you're doing all you can do to pick up spots in your lane, what you don't want to do is get yourself in a situation where you get wrecked. So you're just looking both sides, left and right, constantly.
Spotters, bottom right, they'll be waving their hands as well, just like the drivers, over-communicating when it's time. Not ahead, but on the lap. No surprise, we have 2 Team Penske spotters, not only together on the racetrack, but together on the roof as well. You got to see the action. Man, it's busy. I can't imagine the intensity both on the racetrack and on the roof, knowing their responsibility as now Kyle Busch changes lanes to the middle.
And the intensity for the pit crew. The pit crew knows this is when they have to execute. I always think about it, we talked about this last week, like field goal kickers. They sit on the sideline, sit on the sideline, sit on the sideline, and then it's, come in, let's win the game, and you got to get it done.
Now it's your turn.
I saw a hand out the window right there, about the 5th car back. I think it's Ty Dillon. He's waving. Will anybody come with him?
These 2 guys at the front have led the most laps today. That's Josh Berry, Kyle Busch. Back with the Valvoline onboard, and William Byron.
Huge push right there from the 22 to the back of the 21.
Just 2 pitters.
Ty Dillon, Anthony Alfredo. Back to the front. Here comes Briscoe up high.
Briscoe's done a nice job, Jeff. You continue to talk about really trying to make that surge forward before the pit stop. He has gone basically plus 10 or 12 positions just over the last couple laps. Same shot down the backstretch. We'll see if we see anything out the left side. Will we see any hands? Right there. There you go. Kyle Busch, front of the screen. Left hand out the window. Barry then signals behind. Oh, a push from Logano. So those 5 or 6 cars bottom left, I'm sure, are coming. I bet the second lane stays out. Can they get the pit road clean?
Spoken a lot about the Fords helping each other. How about the Toyotas up top with Christopher Bell pushing his teammate at Joe Gibbs Racing, Chase Briscoe. Here come the pitters.
Small numbers, only 5. I would have thought we would have seen more. That'll be a little bit scary if anybody has an issue, although they do a very nice job being efficient.
We talked about at 21 being a teammate of the Penske cars. It's odd to me that they pitted on a different lap, Dylan.
Kyle Busch is in. They were a lap later than they wanted to pit. Came on the radio and said, we have to pit this lap. They made it in, Dave.
Josh Berry and Michael McDowell coming to the end of pit lane, looking for about 3 seconds of fuel in each one of the cars. 2003 for the 21 leaving, and then the 71's gone.
And the 2 guys who have led the most laps today leave the pits at exactly the same time. Berry and Busch. Back to it with Byron. Williams sits at the moment in 7th place.
Knowing these stops are coming, it's kind of like sitting there watching a storm roll in. Like, you know chaos is brewing. They all have to pit. And with the fewest laps they have to the end of the stage, it's going to be very hard to get organized and make a run if the pit stop doesn't go well.
The longer these guys stay on track running, the bigger disadvantage it is to those small packs.
Yes.
Because the speed of this pack is so much bigger than the 2 cars that we just saw pit together running single file. So if these guys keep making laps, it's a detriment to them.
The The 3 RFK Fords are running nicely. Buescher is second, Keselowski is fourth, Preece is sixth.
And there's the small pack you talked about, Jeff. Remember, small numbers. Now there's just 2 cars and 2 cars. They're going to be at least a second or 2 off of this organized lead pack.
That's the thing that they may have done, because it was a few cars coming on pit road. Their end speed may have been faster.
Yeah, but they're losing time quickly now.
Sure.
Yeah, 51.9, nearly 2 seconds. They're losing 2 seconds a lap to this group back here.
11 to go in stage 2.
And as we get closer to the stage, we're not going to see 5 waves of pit stops, Diff. You know, now when they come, I imagine we're going to see a bigger group at once. That's when true chaos happens on that entry into the pit road.
Walk your way through the pack. Briscoe, Buescher, Keselowski, Preece, Byron, Larson is in there. Shane Van Gisbergen.
Hands out the window on that inside line.
Yeah, both Buescher and Preece. Let's ride on board with Byron. See if he follows or whether he stays out. In front, we think those 3 Fords are coming. Starting with Preece right in front of Byron. Byron's going up. He's going to go by him.
Only 3. All the RFK cars on pit road at the same time.
Synchronized teamwork, Marty.
You see the Roush, Fenway, Keselowski cars coming down pit road, going to be fuel only for all of them. But you guys mentioned it, Dylan, just 3 cars coming down pit road. I expect the other Fords coming soon.
And they did tell Brad Keselowski on the radio, get in line here. We need to save some to try to make this as short of a fill as we can, Dave.
Fuel in the Mustang and gone for the 17 of Chris Buescher.
Oh, there's a fight to the bottom.
All lining up.
Look at Logano.
Buescher, speeding penalty, too fast entering. Here comes the next wave of cars. Yep, here we go. Big pack of cars.
Oh, Van Gisbergen's gone. Spinning on entry to pit lane.
And they all avoid him. Somehow he slides through the pack and into the grass. We'll watch the gas-only stops and see if SVG can get going, or will it bring out a yellow?
He's stuck.
12 away, 24 away. Remember, these cars won't lose a lap, so these pit stops are vitally important. I believe the 88 may bring out a yellow. I think NASCAR's trying to give them a chance to get going. Gas onlys, let's see, bottom of your screen. Briscoe's going to be first away. 88 is still stalled.
It rained earlier, remember. It rained a lot this morning. That infield is wet. NASCAR does not want to throw the caution right here because it's in the middle of a pit cycle, but they have no choice. The caution comes out right now. SVG sitting right there is in big danger. They just had to throw it.
And that is going to be a huge break to the cars that actually came with the spinning SVG, because they're going to get track position.
SVG is really good at braking on road courses. The difference is with this tire at this racetrack, it makes nowhere near the grip as a road course tire or a short track tire. It is hard to get a car to stop. So he trying to take advantage of the skills that he has, ends up locking the rear brakes up and then loses control.
How that didn't take anybody else out is a minor miracle. Just tapped the back of Christopher Bell.
Watch this, watch this.
Watch the one in your mirror. Reckon in front, stay straight, you're good. Just the 88, just the 88. Gonna be out of your way, come around 12.
And that's an uncommon call on the radio coming to pit road, wrecking in front.
Watch SVG, watch this, into the back of the shorty car. Look at that. I mean, Christopher Bell's like, what is going on back there?
Larson's like, please just go back in front of me. Just anywhere but directly in front of me.
And he came back behind his teammate Daniel Suarez as well.
Look, it's embarrassing as a driver when that happens, but it happens to a lot of us. You are trying to gain an advantage on pit road.
Have a listen. Did he just get caught out? Got caught by surprise?
Yeah, like I told you, these tires
just
don't make as much grip. And he's trying to do what your team wants you to do, right? We talk about executing this sequence. That means getting on pit road as fast as you can, leaving pit road as fast as you can. He's just trying to get all that he can, and when he does, he locks the rear tires up. And that also is a little bit of experience getting more front brake put into it before you pit. Let's listen to SVG.
I'm stuck. He hit the water.
hit the water, so maybe he feels like there's some water in the seams coming to pit road. I assume that's what he's talking about.
Well, looking down from our commentary position on the apron, even here, just past the tri-oval, there's some weepers. That's below the yellow lines.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for you. Yeah, there's a little bit of, you see it right there on the apron.
Yeah, but that's on the apron. That's not where.
That's not on the
well,
entry.
let's get a better shot. But you know, the point is, everybody came down pit road, right?
Yeah, right.
Only one person had the issue.
Circle that, Stevie. There's
so I think right here, maybe there's a little bit damp. But to your point, Jeff, you know, everybody comes down the same thing. Unfortunately for Joey Logano, everybody hasn't pit because the 22 of Joey Logano is going to have to make a pit stop, I assume, Marty, or do you think they could somehow stretch the tank?
They do not, Steve, and they did not mean to do that. Joey Logano got shuffled out. In fact, Coleman Presley said we're absolutely stuck. So he was supposed to pit with his teammate Ryan Blaney. Couldn't make it happen. One of just 2 cars that is yet to come to pit road here in stage 2. So they are going to have to come and get fuel to make it to the end. In fact, a moment ago, Logano asked, do I need to be on the apron? Paul Wolf told him, you do not, but keep an eye on your fuel.
Yeah, being on the apron allows. So under speed, the fuel kind of sloshes to the right, which is where the design is. When you go slow, the gravity actually pushes the fuel to the left in the fuel cell. So running on the apron helps it pick up everything in the tank. So I wonder if we can get a little bit higher shot of that entry pit road entry. It's an interesting.
Quick yellow, bringing up to you.
You guys pointed out the weepers where the seams between 2 pieces of asphalt reach each other. Now watch this. SPG, watch his left side of his car as he's coming in. He does indeed get his left sides right over that water.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that is when he has the issue. And that's initially when the back of the car starts coming around. So maybe SVG is 100% right.
He's used to racing in the rain. He's like, I know that was water. I feel that's water.
I didn't know how he would see it.
I know, it's crazy. Watch this, on board with Larson. Yeah, it's unfortunate for SVG, but like you said, Jeff, that's kind of the same for everyone in that situation. Here comes 22 to service. Now, the good news is he can take tires now, Marty.
Yeah, so let's go back to the gear oil issue for Joey Logano. Said it has cooled down, but not much. And you got to wonder, taking tires here, if that puts Paul Wolf in a position in just 7 laps when stage 2 is over, if they go fuel only, taking their time on the stop cam to make sure everything's right.
Well, Marty, Tyler Reddick also got shuffled like Logano, so Billy Scott kept him out an extra lap. That yellow, though, did not help them, he told his driver. So they are flipping the stage, put on 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and took a pack full of Sunoco fuel on that car.
It's going to hurt Joey and his goal of finishing top 5 in the stage as he finished 5th in stage 1. Another look at the SVG spin. Through the water, snaps one way, snaps the other. And a lucky escape for those around him. Good crowd and a beautiful afternoon. A little breezy, but fantastic for this round of 8 competition. Second last race in the round of 8. The YellaWood 500, fans everywhere. If you've never been, can't encourage you more strongly, just to see it. You've got to see Talladega to believe it. And the camping and everything that goes on here, such a fun vibe. Ask any of the drivers. They love it not only for the challenge on the track, but just the general vibe as we show you several replays.
Yeah, scary situation on pit road, be a safety violation for the 10 as he leaves his pit road. Josh Berry's crew working underneath the right rear. There's a tire laying on the ground, and there's not a lot of competition in this pit stop, but Ty Dillon hits this tire. You see the pit crew member very frustrated. That tire makes contact with the crew member who's under the car. Scary, scary situation. Look at that. NASCAR penalizes the 10 as I believe he should be penalized. I think there's just unnecessary. I don't know what information Ty was given. So let's listen to the 10 radio.
Why did they have a tire sitting in our path for exit? What is that about?
Fucking no, man. Fucking hell. A bunch of fucking assholes.
It's ridiculous. It was right in our exit path.
Yeah, I'm not sure I see it the same way. The tire was there, but you have an obligation. It's in the 21's pit stall. They have every right to have the tire there while they're working on it. That would frustrate me if I was a 21. I'd have to go in and have a conversation. If I'm the crew chief of the 21, I'd like to have a conversation after the race about that whole exchange with the 10.
All right, we can talk about that later. Right now, let's talk about this Busch Light restart zone and getting this second stage completed. Chase Briscoe and Carson Hocevar are at the front of the pack, and look at Larson just pushing Briscoe.
Good opportunity right here for Chase Briscoe and Christopher Bell, William Byron, Blaney, Larson, all of those guys looking for some points.
And how far can Logano climb? He's 15th on this restart. Here we go. 4.5 laps around Talladega. Points on offer. And if you're a playoff driver, you need to grab as many stage points as you can.
Well, Logano's ascent is already happening as he's pushing, trying to figure out which lane. He was looking top. I bet he's going to swerve bottom here. Oh, he stays patient in the middle.
Kyle Busch isn't patient. He's jumping to the bottom. Nope, back to the middle. Big block at the front from Briscoe.
Playoff drivers, Briscoe, Bell, Larson, Byron, Blaney, they're all in that front pack.
Carson Hocevar in that second place car.
You go through that passage of saving fuel and just being careful and mindful. But now this is all out. This is all out to the end.
Oh, big slide or something from the A to Kyle Busch. I don't know if he had to get out of the gas or something, but that disrupted the pack in the back. In the front, still very organized as Briscoe. Oh, a late block. Couldn't get in front of the 5.
Yeah, here comes the 5 on the outside.
Teammate behind. William Byron is pushing Kyle Larson. Back in his traditional colors in the HendrickCars.com blue, white, and red.
This is a great dress rehearsal for the closing laps of the race. Which lane do you want to be in, top or bottom? Which lane will Briscoe block?
Oh, the 20 of Bell is giving the 77 a big push right here.
Carson Hocevar on the inside of Kyle Larson. And Briscoe drops down to the low side.
Momentum's going to come out of this top right here. Will the 19 pick it up? Oh, he's up there. He's blocking. He sees it coming. He's hearing it's coming.
Logano trying to make the third lane work on the outside.
Whoa! Great save from Chase Briscoe. 1 to go from here, presented by Credit One Bank. Points on the line. Playoff drivers at the front. It is on. Spare a thought for young Carson Hocevar in the middle of a sea of playoff drivers with so much on the line. ...190 miles an hour. Positioning, decision-making. And it's Briscoe and Larson who come out of turn 4 and head to the tri-oval. to try and grab 10 points. And it's the 19 with his nose in front at the moment. And it's the 19 from JGR and Chase Briscoe who grabs the maximum points in stage 2. That was hard earned. Big one for him too. First stage win on a drafting track. Close, tight, and a lot on the line. 2 playoff drivers grabbed the most points, Briscoe and Larson. This is how they came across the line. No points scored for the 22 of Joey Logano. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and by YellaWood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have that yellow tag, you don't want it. What these fans want is good racing, and they just saw it all the way to the line there to complete stage 2, where you saw some very hungry playoff drivers, but non-playoff drivers. Let's give a shout out to Carson Hocevar, 3rd. Ty Gibbs, the winner of the first stage, he was in 6th. David Gilliland, John Hunter Nemechek, and Alex Bowman, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So they all did well in that stage, the closing phase of that stage anyway. Here we are, we're on board with thanks to Xfinity with Bubba Wallace. Of course, a full-time NASCAR Cup Series driver and a part-time photographer. NBC Sports and Toyota got a behind-the-scenes look at his passion for photography.
I've always just wanted to recreate the photos that you see the professionals take and add your own little twist to it or whatever it may be. Constantly judging myself and my photos, my work against others that I see to try to chase something much better. So it keeps me hungry at doing photography when I do have the time.
How important did you two find it when you were in the midst of competition to have something away from the track?
I think it's really important. I struggled with it. It was very hard for me to, every time I felt like I was doing something that wasn't racing involved, somebody was outworking me. Like I felt like I couldn't go enjoy myself because someone else wasn't, and they were going to get more results because I was taking it easy at that time. But I do think now, older in life, I do understand. I think I would have been a better race car driver had I given myself the opportunity to step away a little bit and enjoy some other things. I think it probably would have made me better.
Stevie, as a crew chief, do you even get the time to do something
No,
else?
I was going to say I didn't have anything really away. I think perhaps if I would have found something to kind of enjoy outside of the garage, maybe my career in the garage would have lasted longer, but the fuse kind of burns on both ends of the day and both ends of the week if you want to keep up. You know, I was fortunate enough to share kind of a wall. The other side of that wall was Chad Knaus's office, who, by the way, was winning everything. And when you saw that he was there so much that you just felt like you had to be there, as Jeff said, or you were getting behind.
Yeah, and I had the fortune of having Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, the list goes on and on as teammates, and they made you after work. They were so good.
Pit lane is about to get super busy in this stage break. Marty Snyder and the team are standing by. Take it away, mate.
Lee, first time we've seen William Byron flex his muscle today. They've been in fuel-saving mode for much of the afternoon. Rudy Fugle told him, we're going to take 4 tires. The jack will drop. Do not go. Wait on me, Kim.
For Kyle Larson, he said, I moved to the bottom once I had no energy. I think the wind is really affecting the car. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. Christopher Bell, bottom left. Adam Seaman asking, what do you need? He said, just water and a tear-off, Dave.
Chase Briscoe was told to keep an eye on his fuel pressure because they had an issue on the last stop. He made it to his pit stall. It took fuel, but he also took 4 tires, which put him back in the queue after winning the stage.
The round of 8. We're right in the middle of it. Last week in Vegas, highly eventful, highly emotional for Denny Hamlin, his 60th win. Today here in Talladega. Next week, we're off to Martinsville before its full championship focus in Phoenix. When the checkered flag falls here this afternoon in Talladega, there will just be 2 races left on the season. And next up, it's Martinsville, and it's a full schedule. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, we've got the Xfinity Series action, and we'll see you here for Cup next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on network television on NBC, also available on Peacock as well. Time now to head to the Peacock pit box. Our Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett, Marty Snyder. What do you think, fellas?
Yeah, I want to get the thoughts from the Hall of Famer. Joe Gibbs Racing wins stage 1 and stage 2. But DJ, I want to talk about Hendrick Motorsports. You know, they've been in fuel saving mode for much of the day. That's the first time they've really flexed their muscle with both the 5 and the 24. What do you think about their chances?
Yeah, I think Byron I'm more impressed with there. The 5 car still has some issues. He keeps complaining about just not having everything. He's talking about the wind affecting his car with speed-wise, so I'm not sure that they have that. So it's a great job by Kyle Larson to get any points right there.
It was a great start for Team Penske and Joey Logano and also Ryan Blaney right after stage 1. You see the 5 coming to pit road there to top off with fuel, Ryan Blaney as well. But we talk about the issues with the 22 car. Joey Logano continues to mention the gear oil issues. They just lost Josh Berry, who just went to the garage area, by the way, an important wingman for both of them. Could this be kind of falling apart here for Team Penske?
Yeah, it really is, because the 21 had the speed to make things happen for them. Whether he was pulling them along or then could get behind them and really push. So that's going to be detrimental. And keep an eye on a lot of the playoff drivers that we are seeing, the non-playoff drivers that we're seeing up front that could impact the finishes and the outcome of this race.
Hey, Lee, you hear all that noise behind us? That's everyone coming to pit road to top off. Fuel certainly going to be a factor here in stage 3 as well.
What a tough break for Josh Berry. He's led the most laps today with 27. Here's Denny Hamlin needing some assistance out of his pit box.
Looks like it stalled and he couldn't get it started. Kim.
Yeah, just came on the radio, kind of frustrated, said the starter not working, so needed a little push from his crew.
Yeah, he stalled the car out, leaving the pits, and then with no starter, the pit crew just push starts it.
Not a big deal unless, of course, you stall on your green flag pit stop.
Yeah.
And it would be a very crucial situation.
So Marty brings up a good point about the term wingman. Austin Cindric raised it yesterday, and you look for the 2 playoff drivers from Team Penske. They had 2 wingmen in Josh Berry and Austin Cindric. Austin was involved in that big accident a little earlier in stage 1, so he was unable to assist the drivers of the 12 or the 22. And then you look all around at who's going to be able to help. Who are the non-playoff drivers able to help their teammates still in the hunt for a championship?
Yeah, and it's interesting. You look at stage points, you know, Kyle Larson with 9, Christopher Bell 7, Briscoe 10, Byron 7, Logano 5. He did not get stage points in that second stage, got him in the first stage. Ryan Blaney with 10, Dylan.
Some guys to watch quickly on Kyle Busch. The mileage they've been getting at the front of the field has not been very good. As you'd expect, that's the case for everybody. They said 4 to 6 is the range they want for the best fuel mileage to the end.
Getting ready to start stage 3. For this YellaWood 500, it has been quite the day for the driver of the 8, Kyle Busch, as he and John Hunter Nemechek lead this field back to green. Hunt Brothers Pizza on board for Logano. Let's go for a ride.
3/4 in front. 3/4, 3/4, half, half, quarter in front, quarter, quarter, quarter in front, quarter. 3 cars here on the bottom, quarter in front, no third. By the 10.88.5. 10.688, third lane. You got the 2 Fords behind you cleared to it. 17 still cleared to it. 17 still cleared to it. It's a 10.6, just the 60s cleared to it. Just the 60s. Numbers are second lane and third lane. Only you are cleared to it. It's a 10.688. Only you're cleared to it. Only you right now, only you. Equal strength at lane 2 and 3. Priest is a tight clear to it. The 17 is not. Top lane's a 10.688.1. 60 is cleared to it. The 17 is not. 3 cars left here on the bottom. Quarter in front, quarter in front. Will just be the 60. 17 filled middle behind. You're 1 inside, 1 inside. 60 still favoring with you. 60, 10, and 6, all too wide. It's too wide. There's a single car on the bottom at row 7.
Jeff, how do you focus at 190 miles an hour when you've got that much talking?
What was great about that was you heard Coleman Presley, who is one of the best in the business, telling Joey Logano he was clear to it, meaning the outside line. If you want to go there, you can. The guy behind you, now he's clear. The guy behind you, now he's clear. Telling Joey, if you go to the outside, some guys might go with you. He didn't tell him to go to the outside line. He was just giving him the information, and Joey made the decision.
Right there on the bottom of your screen, you see the 21 rejoining the field already. Dave, quick work in the garage.
Yes, they did, Steve. Same issue as the Penske cars have been having. The gear oil too hot, burning out of it. They had to refill it with gear oil, get him back out here. He can still be a factor in this race for his fellow Fords.
Could still be a factor, but that raises my concern for the 22. We've heard about it being a little too warm. Marty's reported it all day, plus 45 at one time. I mentioned everyone runs the same gearbox, but the cooling setup, really how much air you put to it is a little bit optional through the teams. Obviously, Team Penske a little on the aggressive side. So, man, I wasn't concerned, but now I am a bit concerned for Joey Logano in the 22.
Some of these guys are trying to drag this group to the top of the racetrack. They want to get them to the top to get single file, but others on the bottom, Marty, they don't want that to happen.
Yeah, Jeff, we mentioned Joey Logano brought up the gear oil issue again under the last caution. Here's what Logano had to say.
20 over. They set that gauge too low. 20 over is not even remotely close. Okay, but it smells. So, and it feels draggy.
So, Jeff, the temperature has come down, but if you're in Joey Logano's seat right now, what do you trust? Because gear oil is a very distinctive smell. Logano saying he smells it. Paul Wolfe is saying the gauge is wrong. Do you trust your nose or do you trust your crew chief?
I try to trust both, but they're conflicting information. Joey Logano has enough experience to understand the senses that he has and what the result of those experiences has created. And so when he smells that gear oil, that is unusual. And he knows it. So he also has this gauge that's saying, I'm a little hot, and he's smelling gear oil. Those two things collectively are telling him that he could have a problem because he's experienced that once before, at least in his career.
Adding to everything else that he's trying to juggle at the moment, there he is. Sits fifth. Look at Ty Gibbs down low in the 54 Monster Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's got Bubba Wallace right behind him. Kind of been running down there by himself for several laps and doing well to stay where he is.
The other thing about the gear oil, Steve, is what do you do about it, right? There's something, like we talked about earlier, he tried to get in clean air, maybe to get more cooling because the air gets through that vent into it better, but other than that, what can you do?
Yeah, unless you have some opening you can increase, which I would imagine they would have already done. They could have, probably are married to whatever they have for a situation. You see on that left side of the 45, those 3 white dots on the quarter window, that's what that is. That is basically a white dot on the NACA duct saying, hey, these are still taped up solid, don't think they're open.
Up goes Gibbs.
That was a really well done, work, fight your way to the front, and then get up in front of the field.
Don't be surprised to see Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Riley Herbst, all these guys. This is an opportunity for them, and they need to execute this far of the race to keep them with this track position, to have a chance to ultimately win this race.
Well, we talk so much about the playoffs because it is the focus of the championship, but today, what could today mean for Ty Gibbs being his first ever win, or Riley Herbst, right? Or Daniel Suarez? Why wouldn't be his first? He doesn't have a public announced ride for next year. We don't know what the 99's doing.
A win could do wonders.
Yeah, so, you know, it's easy to get lost. John Hunter Nemechek, they're in the 42. It's just so easy to get lost in the playoffs when a win is so important and they're so hard to come by.
Think about John Hunter Nemechek, you know, Legacy Motorsports owner Jimmy Johnson. We know all the success that he has had. They love to get a win for that team. Riding along with Austin Dillon here, the Breast Street camera. He's had some issues early in this race. He's 2 laps down. Casey Mears is 1 lap down. So Casey Mears, if he get a caution, he could get back in the lead lap, and that would allow Austin Dillon to start getting laps back if he gets several cautions.
By the way, with Daniel Suarez running up the front, time to congratulate Trackhouse Racing, created motorsport history today, being a NASCAR Cup Series winning team, and they won the MotoGP race in Australia. We are getting very close to the final 50 laps, brought to you by YellaWood. Some important numbers there on the right-hand side of your screen. We will see what transpires over these final 50 here in Talladega with the teammates at the front. For Team Penske, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney.
They always seem to find this, whoa, almost a wreck down the back straightaway. Big push, almost went wrong. And watch this, Kyle Busch giving a big push right there. Oh, that was so close. Tyler Reddick did a really good job. And Kyle Busch and Anthony Alfredo, they also did a good job. Watch this. Kyle Busch lifts, Anthony Alfredo lifts, off they go. And what's crazy is the next lap, if you're the guy getting pushed like that, you're waving in the mirror. Do it again, makes me go faster.
Those pushes are going to become very difficult here as the field continues to slow in a little bit of a fuel conservation mode. I only bring that up because it becomes unnatural, right? You can all go down the interstate at the speed limit really with no issue, right? And one guy just touches the brakes. Next thing you know, there's that stack up that you see all the time. So while these guys aren't on the brakes, as they roll out of the throttle trying to save gas, it just changes the natural kind of cadence of the pack. So if I'm driving behind you, Jeff, and I'm expecting you to go forward, but you're backing up to me and I don't expect it because you're out of the gas, that's when we've seen these pushes turn into really big wrecks, just because the forward energy of the trailing car, the rearward energy of the forward car. These guys are running 52-second laps. The fastest lap of the day is sub 49. So 3.5 seconds off. They still are remarkably fast. It's just not kind of a natural flow.
Cheddar's Chevy for RCR looking at the Toyota of Tyler Reddick, but it's a Ford freight train down to the left on the low line. Dave, we saw Josh Berry coming off the track a moment ago. Tell us more.
He was told to drive the car to the hauler. That is NASCAR speak for day is done. Park the car there because we're going to load it up and take it home.
So that damage to the gearbox seems to be too much for the 21. They tried to put some more oil in it, but obviously whatever the issue was, that wouldn't rectify it.
And you said it earlier, that makes me even more concerned for Joey Logano. He's smelling that gear oil. Still 48 laps to go in this race.
How about the run from Anthony Alfredo today in that Beard Motorsports 62? Enjoying some more time at the front. Marty, what you got?
Boards 1 through 4 on the bottom of the racetrack, Lee, all lined up together. And this was the question in Countdown to Green that we asked about. Team Penske on the ropes in the playoffs. Who would be willing to or not willing to help them in this race today, especially when it comes to the end of this stage? Well, at the end of stage 2, Ryan Blaney was not happy with the other blue oval cars and how they raced him. Listen in.
First thing get bailed on by the fucking Fords. I know. We're lined up in the second lane going to the driveway. He goes back down to the bottom.
So, Jeff, it brings up a very interesting dilemma. If you are a non-playoff car and your manufacturer tells you, hey, help the playoff cars when you can, what's your reaction? Do you do it or not?
I do exactly that. I help them when I can. And when I can't, I don't. And what that means is I can help, but not at my detriment. Something going on with the back in the mid-pack.
It was Riley Herbst. Seemed to lose speed pretty quickly. Look at the middle of the screen.
Yeah, everybody going around. I'm assuming this is some sort of tire issue. Has the look of a tire going down or a mechanical issue. He does a nice job not turning left until he's completely clear. And he goes all the way to the apron.
What a bad break.
Dylan, tell us more. What have you heard?
Well, there was some concern. Riley, on the last time down pit road, had the team check under the hood, thought he was blowing up. Not sure if that's what it is now, but obvious issues for the 35.
Unreal. That could have been a huge pileup. Very good driving behind the 35. You hate that for Riley having such a nice day. Watch middle of the pack. He moves left. He knows he's slowing down. Good job by Riley as well. Oh, man, some close calls.
26-year-old from Las Vegas in his rookie year. Best finish of 14th. He was in position today to have maybe a career day, and unfortunately, it looks like it's come to an end.
Is this the day that Joey Logano, who, by the way, is a 3-time Talladega winner, kind of breaks a recent run of not great results here? 9 of the last 10 races, he's finished 19th or worse here. But today is the day that he needs to deliver big time, and so too does his teammate right behind. Again, they came into today's race second last and last in the playoff point standings, needing to deliver big.
With 45 to go in the race, any caution at this point would bring everybody to pit road. We'd be inside the fuel window.
Look at the RFK Fords of Keselowski, Buescher, and Preece, all in a line. On that low line, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
And I know we have had that one bigger wreck that definitely got 7 or 8 cars, but with a 40-car field, you know, 4 normal than more, you know, 4 more cars than normal, we still have 28 cars in the lead lap, and look at all these in cars.
If you weren't with us a little earlier, there was a big crash. Not the big one, but big enough to take out AJ Allmendinger, Noah Gragson, Eric Jones, Justin Haley, Austin Cindric, playoff driver Chase Elliott, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who came into today as the defending race winner. That was at the end of stage 1. Relatively clean stage 2, and here we are in stage 3. 44 to go here at Talladega. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs live here on NBC. This is the YellaWood 500. And just 40 laps to go, this time across the line. Time to take a look at a race recap brought to you by Tree. And this is that crash that I was telling you about before we went to the break, involving AJ Allmendinger, Noah Gragson. This is AJ's view. Oh, that was a hard hit. And he said he's going to be sore tomorrow. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. involved, Justin Haley, Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott. And this was AJ when he got out of his car. He was okay in the end, and that was Chase Elliott going out. And how about this one, Jeff? An unusual sight for Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, SVG coming down pit road, actually got into some water in the seams between the two layers of asphalt, and this car came around on him trying to get on pit road. Lucky there weren't more cars involved in that wreck.
All right, Steve, what's your gut telling you about how you feel about this one? Inside 40 to home.
Yeah, there's a big game of poker being played right now. Everybody's trying to figure out what position they want to be in and how much fuel they want to get there. The 22, he didn't top off, and he's led most of this run, so my gut tells me he's probably burning the most. But we also know they're probably the most efficient at putting fuel in the car, so it's kind of a big waiting game. A caution right now would square everybody up. So it all comes down to that same green flag cycle that we've seen in both stages.
Chastain used that outside lane. He was running mid-pack, and about 4 or 5 laps, he got himself to lead that second lane. See Christopher Bell now leading the third lane with SVG. We just saw a replay of spinning down pit road. There he is, back in the top 15.
I think it's time, fellas, that we take a look at our credit ones to watch. Stevie, kick us off.
Well, I'm looking for driver owner Brad Keselowski behind the wheel of the 6. He has 36 career wins, 6 of which coming here at Talladega, but only 1 in the car that he owns back at Darlington last year. So Brad Keselowski looking to take RFK back to victory lane as driver owner.
I like the look of Ty Gibbs today. He's been featured at the front. He led 32 laps here earlier in the year in April, and he did finish in the top 10 at Daytona at the last drafting track. So we'll see if this is the day that this young man gets his first Cup victory.
And this is an opportunity race, so I'm going to go back to Todd Gilliland. He was running in the top 10 just a few laps ago, 25 years old, a third-generation driver from Front Row Motorsports. This arguably is his best racetrack, 3 top 10s here. Can he get himself in position to win this race?
And while we're talking about different winners, there have been 10 different winners in the last 10 races here at Talladega. Does that trend continue? How about Christopher Bell up on that third lane? I don't think we've spoken enough about the driver of the DeWalt number 20 today, but he is there and he is in the mix. And points as they run, heading to Martinsville. He sits third at the moment. Tell us more, Kim.
Yeah, and Lee, he said this weekend will be a big turning point in terms of the whole game of the playoffs, points, fluctuations, etc. And the only way he will feel comfortable going to Martinsville is if he wins here at Talladega. He said there's nothing safe about where we are points-wise, even though they are currently, as they run, plus 24. Could easily get knocked out if he's in that bottom spot with 2 new winners each week. So he said, do not expect me to be timid here in the closing laps of this race.
Martinsville was where his championship run came to an end last year. He does not want that to happen again. And a win today can confirm his spot in Phoenix.
He talked so much about not leaving it to chance, right?
Yeah.
Not having to go to Martinsville in the position to having to have a great finish. And today could go a long way toward that. 7 points earned today.
88 up high. Shane Van Gisbergen back in the mix. Tell us more, Dylan.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned the spin he had earlier on the comeback trail now. Talked to him earlier, and he said, you know, there's not a lot that translates from the other oval successes that we've had recently to here, but the biggest thing is the confidence to push the car to the limits, even understanding where the limit is. Plus, now he's starting to see some of these racetracks multiple times at the Cup Series, 4 times in the drafting tracks here at the end of the Cup season. So all of that is starting to pay off, and it's a really good recovery for the 88 today.
How about the Trackhouse teammates? He's side by side with Ross Chastain, and he's being followed and pushed by Daniel Suarez.
I love that shot as they head right at you down the backstretch. It shows you just how, you know, you think they're locked in and running a straight line, but they kind of dance at you. There's a little bit of movement and energy amongst the entire field. You get the same look off turn 4 and these little short shoots. And then, Jeff, the tri-oval, not only is it perhaps the toughest because it's a corner without a lot of vertical loading, but it goes from 3 lanes to 4, back to 3. It's like a natural restriction of traffic right here. You're going to watch this dotted white line right there disappear. The bottom lane just goes away.
And the other thing is, while you were riding along with Kyle Busch in the Cheddar's camera, he was on the very bottom of the racetrack through the trial. Well, there's less banking there. So that part of the racetrack has the least amount of grip of anywhere else.
34 laps to go here at Talladega. Who is going to get it done today? It's an important one. On a day when he needs to deliver, Joey Logano has led the most laps here at Talladega, 29 in total. Make it 30. And now, here comes a new challenger in the form of Todd Gilliland, who's been given a little shove there by Denny Hamlin. The Toyota onboard shows us.
I appreciate it, Todd. You're my one to pick. Thing out front.
I don't want to tell you what happened to the other one he had picked earlier, Todd.
Yeah, he's in the garage, so.
Been a wild day. 25 different leaders in this YellaWood 500. Been quite the day, Kim Kuhn.
Alex Bowman currently running in the 28th position. Haven't heard much from him today, but maybe a problem. He said it continues to misfire. We've seen him drop just a little bit. Crew Chief Blake Harris asking if the gauges are doing anything. He's saying no, so currently monitoring that situation. Now let's bump closer to the front of the field. Denny Hamlin kind of battling back and forth for that 5th and 4th spot. And remember, spirits are very high for this team. They won last week, and Crew Chief Chris Scale told me the way they got that win with Denny racing his guts out to get to the championship four was amazing. They took a couple of days last week to focus on nothing but Phoenix. And remember, they told me that they would love to get a win here for 2 reasons. A, keep the momentum up, but but then also keep someone else out of the championship and I say that, Marty, as Logano is leading.
Yeah, Kim, an interesting dilemma here for Team Penske. All day long, they've had Josh Berry to play the role of the car that's leading. When you lead here at Talladega, you burn way more fuel. In fact, over a run, it's about a 2 to 3 lap deficit. Add to that Joey Logano did not top off under the last caution, so he's had a pretty good fuel deficit to his teammate Ryan Blaney right behind him. I just asked Paul Wolfe, Steve, does that concern you? He said, yep, obviously it does concern me a little bit, but no matter what, our plan is Ryan Blaney is going to pit with us when we come to pit road. So Logano having to burn all that fuel out front may change the strategy for Team Penske just a little bit, but the plan right now is to stick together.
Yeah, so I think they will stick together. Just the problem for the 22 is he's probably going to have to stay in his box longer. But I agree with Paul. You don't want to just give up this position. You've worked your way to the front of the field at this point. Remember, yellow, and everybody will come down under caution, and you'll probably be able to stay towards the front of the pack. So we'll just have to see how these laps play out. I imagine we're going to see pit stops in about 10 laps from now.
Remember early in the race, we saw the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, go to the back of the pack, right? Just trying to make sure he can be in this position with nothing to gain. Why getting a wreck early? But we've seen him all day position himself where he needs to be at the right time. Well, here he is with the last pit stop approaching, sitting here running in the top 5.
We've spent a lot of time talking about the Fords and the Team Penske Fords. Just look to that top lane. Let's not forget about the Hendrick Motorsports teammates in William Byron in the 24 and the 5 of Kyle Larson. Their other playoff teammate, Chase Elliott, is out of this one, and Alex Bowman's got troubles. So it's down to these two to help each other in their respective quests for a championship and to represent Hendrick Motorsport the best they can. Let's talk more about this 2014, Marty.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race for William Byron and Rudy Fugle. You're right on board with the Valvoline onboard camera for William Byron. They have been in fuel-saving mode for much of the day today, but they have been able to make their way to the front when they need to. Into stage 2, they did it. Here at the end of stage 3, as we're approaching the pit stops, they've done it again. So Byron clearly has a lot of speed in that 24, but Jeff, how much information did he miss out on for much of this race, not running in the front of the pack that could pay dividends to win the race?
Not knowing what your car will do and won't do can be a deficit. Also, other guys seeing you in the front, right? Yeah. They know you have a fast race car when you're in the front. So how much do other drivers trust him?
Yeah, it's like an audition, right? The more laps you lead, everybody thinks, man, this is the guy I want to be with near the end.
Steve, this is, if you can call this calm, this is the calm before the storm, right? When this last pit stop happens, it is going to be chaos, but every driver knows if this thing goes green, you have to execute this coming pit stop, this getting on the pit road, having the fueler do his job, the driver leaving pit road. That can determine if you have the track position to win this race. Chase Elliott talked about it earlier in the race. He thought they did not do a good job of this part of it. It got him back in the pack, ultimately got in a wreck. Every driver knows, and they've all worked really hard at it, getting on pit road. Fueler doing a good job, leaving on time, not getting blocked in.
Think of the mental toughness it requires, Diff, right? We've only had 4 cautions, so these guys have been under green now. This run for 37 green flag laps, so call it 30 minutes, give or take a little bit of absolute focus. If it runs green to the end, it's going to take another 20 minutes of absolute focus, and the pit stop's only going to be 4 seconds. You're not going to get a mental break.
At 190 miles an hour, with your competitors so close around you, and just 24 laps to go. An unfortunate end to the day for Rick Ware Racing's Cody Ware in the Arby's Ford, as he ended up spinning in his own oil.
Yeah, he came by on the front stretch very, very, very slow. We weren't sure he was going to get back around even from that. The engine, it sounded like it had expired on the 51. And then with him spinning on the apron on 1 and 2, it was a required caution instantly from NASCAR. And this will put the entire field, kind of the game plan now is very clear. Everybody will be to pit road. Now, what you do on pit road, I'm not sure is crystal clear. Like Joey Logano's going to need a little more fuel than, say, Todd Gilliland or Ryan Blaney. But do you feel your driver needs tires if the pushing and shoving gets too much? And with 27 cars in the lead lap and differing strategies, very important for clear communication. It's going to be very easy to run into somebody coming or going who's on a different plan than you.
Y'all gotta get under the hood, right? To fix that, yes, for sure.
Under the hood, so it sounds like the 11's going to be doing some more work than that, Kim.
Yeah, Hamlin reporting the throttle is stuck, and the crew chief did look at the SMT data. It said it looks like it's 20% stuck. Some frustration from Denny just about kind of the nature of their cars and not being able to get them where they need to be, but throttle issue for Hamlin.
Better this week than last.
Yeah, but he wrecked one at Martinsville with a stuck throttle, a piece of rubber once. I mean, that's something that, as a race car driver, and as a crew chief, that's my number one responsibility is to make sure the driver has all his controls. Let's listen into the 11.
I don't know what to do. If I push the clutch in, it just goes to peg. All I know is turn the motor off and then work it. That's the only thing I can tell you. Okay. It's just f***ing unbelievable. Why can't we keep our cars together?
I understand his frustration. I know the win last week is what they were looking for. It was a big emotional day for Denny. It was a great day for this team because now we're on to the championship 4. But at this point, we don't know exactly what's wrong. But you hear the frustration in Denny's voice, that mechanically he feels this is something that shouldn't be happening to the 11. And look, his mistakes. I mean, I agree with Denny. I also empathize with Chris Gale, right? I mean, he doesn't work. He has to manage this situation. I guarantee Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing are going to take a hard look at it, but real frustration from the driver.
Yeah, and look, what Denny Hamlin is thinking about is here in a couple weeks, you're going to be in position to win a championship, and you cannot have these types of issues.
Let's relive that magical weekend a week ago for Denny Hamlin.
Big time moments for big time athletes.
Let's go, D8. How about that?
This is the point where I give the fans some I beat your favorite driver. I beat your favorite driver, folks. Not today. I appreciate all of you so much.
Here comes Hamlin again.
Momentum you.
I didn't think we were going to win, but I knew I was going to give it all I had.
Denny Hamlin is going to Phoenix.
60 wins is massive.
Championship, here we come.
He knows his time in the sport remaining is limited. He's going to capitalize on every opportunity. A couple of really important things post that race last weekend. Denny Hamlin said it meant more. It was his 60th career win. It puts him in a tie for the top 10 all-time with Kevin Harvick. He said he can't believe his name is on that list. And he gets a chance to race for that elusive NASCAR Cup Series championship another time. That is the most important thing. Pit lane comes alive, and Marty Snyder's there.
Lee, both of the Team Penske cars in the playoffs came in below the cut line, but now they're in a position to win. Fuel only for Ryan Blaney. For the 22 of Joey Logano, fuel only as well. William Byron, fuel only too, Kim.
And Marty, you see Denny Hamlin, bottom right of your screen. They will put the hood up, try and look at that throttle issue is having. You heard the frustration on the radio. Remember a couple of weeks ago at Kansas had a similar issue. Remember, momentum is a real thing, and they were hoping to keep it here this weekend, even after winning last week's race.
How about that from Ryan Blaney? Great work. Chaos on pit lane, though. Check this out. Between Bubba Wallace and William Byron, that was a close call. Everybody hustling, everybody scrambling. They know that it's on for these final 20 laps.
This place can't chew you up and spit you out in a hurry.
Everybody's 4 or 5 wide, you know something crazy is gonna happen.
Up and into the air!
That was probably the longest flip I've ever had. Didn't know if it ever stopped.
Logano is upside down. He'll slam back into the racetrack.
Edwards goes up in the air.
The whole field is down into one, destroyed.
Was that crazy, guys? That was chaos. That's Talladega for you.
It's been an eventful day. It hasn't been a crazy day yet, but this is Talladega, and we know that there's 19 laps still to run, and a man who knows exactly the way to get to victory lane here at Talladega is our Hall of Famer, Dale Jarrett. DJ, what have you observed that you like? What are your feelings over these closing 19 laps?
Well, Diff, you know, we came into this day kind of setting it up, what the Penske drivers were going to do, what Blaney and Logano needed to do. They've done everything. They positioned themselves right where they need to be. Now, how are they going to play each other as these laps wind down? Both of them feeling like they need a win. They've gained points and everything. My other thing was with Denny Hamlin up there. Now he's going to start from the back, but he could affect this race and decide who he might be racing for a championship without breaking any rules just by pushing someone else to the win. And I'm sure he doesn't want to have to race either Blaney or Logano for the championship in Phoenix in a couple of weeks.
11 lost a lap on pit road, but it doesn't change exactly what DJ just mentioned. He'll be able to get up there and mix it up as we see the choose coming with 18 to go. The 22 of Joey Logano, very, very fast pit stop. He's going to choose below his or behind his teammate Ryan Blaney. I'm going to tell you, to lead that many laps and still have that quick of a pit stop for the 22 of Logano, they have got to be nervous on if they had enough fuel put in that race car. I'm sure they have it, you know, measured down to the ounce, but it doesn't feel like there could be a whole lot extra with as quick as that pit stop was at only 3 seconds.
Tell us more, Marty.
Yeah, Steve, Joey Logano asked the same exact question you asked just a moment ago. He said, do we have enough fuel to make it to the end? Paul Wolfe radioed back, yes, we do. 18 to go. This is going to be a great shootout.
Is it going to be a playoff driver that capitalizes, or will it be a magical day for a non-playoff driver? And then we're talking points heading to Martinsville next week. There are 3 playoff drivers in the top 4 positions with Blaney, Logano, and Kyle Larson. Let's talk about another playoff driver in Chase Briscoe, a little further back, Dave.
Lee, he has been up and above the cutoff line. He's been down below it as he is right now, and he's in a similar fuel situation that Marty described with Joey Logano. Just a little splash of fuel there, about 3 seconds worth himself. So we'll see where they stand. They haven't really given him any direction yet on how close he'll be, but same category in terms of how much he took on.
You hear all the drivers shutting it off. That's not just saving fuel, it's also cooling the engine. The real question is, with 18 to go, how many are running under green? How many are under yellow? And how many do we run? Jeff, we could see multiple overtimes.
That's right, multiple overtimes. Of course, cautions, you don't burn hardly any fuel whatsoever. So, Marty, what do you have on William Byron?
Well, so Jeff, this is interesting. Rudy Fugle just told William Byron a moment ago it's going to be really tight for us to make it to the end on fuel here. And Byron said, okay, that's fine. Just if I need to back down, just make sure you give me plenty of heads up. So even though everybody just pitted and there's only a handful of laps to go, they're tight to the end to make it.
About to enter the Busch Light restart zone. Listen to the crowd. They're amped. They're ready. And there will be just 17 laps left here in the YellaWood 500. It's a couple of Fords on the front row. Ryan Blaney, Todd Gilliland. Let's go. Keep in mind, Ryan Blaney got taken out of the Vegas race last weekend through nothing of his own fault.
The Penske cars got separated. The Penske cars got separated right there. That's going to give an advantage to Todd Gilliland. Let's see what he does when he gets the lead.
And look at Larson. Look at the 5. Look at the 5. Does he? No, he thought he might have had a chance to come down in front of Blaney. He doesn't. Gilliland does. So Chevy's up top, Ford's down low.
Now Todd Gilliland with 17 laps to go. He is going to be driving out of the rearview mirror for this entire time, blocking. Here comes the 5 car. Todd does not need to make a block just yet. Here comes some help from the 12. That's going to push Todd back out in front of the 5. 5 momentum's coming, though, from Suarez.
On board with Chris Buscher. Thomas's high protein bagels. Great view. And Chris has got a shot at this as well.
5's even with the 34 front row. Half front. Still half front. Tight front.
Look at that push.
Wow.
Todd Gilliland, did he get too far out though? Watch how quickly they're going to catch him.
What a moment for this 25-year-old from North Carolina to be at the head of this field for the final 15 laps. Little bump there from Blaney. Suarez, meanwhile, in that second lane, helping a fellow Chevrolet driver. Let's go inside the world of the 22 team at Team Penske. Have a listen.
On, still on, still on, still on. Quarter in front. Quarter in front. Get tighter. Quarter in front, quarter in front, quarter in front. Quarter in front, quarter in front, quarter in front. Tight front, on, on. On in front, on. Quarter in front here, quarter in front. Heavy quarter in front, heavy quarter in front. 14 to go, quarter in front, quarter in front. Quarter in front, quarter in front, quarter. Get tighter, 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 on. 6 and 60s to you, on in front, ping-ponging. Release, quarter in front, quarter in front. 17, 24, 20s behind that 99. 6, 60, 71 to you, half in front. 13 to go at the line, half.
Can you imagine in his 400th start, if Kyle Larson, the driver of the 5, the 2021 Cup Series champion, can win on a drafting track for the first time here today and give himself a shot at another championship by confirming his spot in Phoenix? Wouldn't that be something magical?
It's fun hearing that exchange from Coleman Presley. Coleman was a driver himself, and he comes from a family of very well-known drivers in the Southeast, tough, hard-nosed drivers. His dad, his grandfather, he is a hardcore racer, hung up the steering wheel, and has become one of the best spotters we have.
And all that information he was giving wasn't about the 22. It was about the 12 to the 34, the gap in front of the 12, because he wants Joey Logano to know if he's able to push the 12. So when he would say quarter, 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 that means that there was a quarter car length between the 12 and the 34.
Jeff, you bring up a good point about multi-generation races. You got 2 of them in the 34 and the 12. And now for the first time, Larson clears and is able to come down on the low line.
Yeah, I haven't liked Todd Gilliland. He's gotten out so far in front of the pack multiple times. I would like to see him drag the brake a little bit to keep from getting out so far. That allowed Kyle Larson to get in front of him.
38 of Zane Smith, that bright green car first in the 3rd lane. Haven't mentioned his name much today, but here he is trying to drag that 3rd lane along, and he's doing it. Look at the push up top for the 38. He's at row 2. He'll be at row 1. The 38, 3 wide for the lead.
He won the pole here back in the spring. He'd love to win the race here in the fall. 3 wide now. We're packed up. And 11 laps to go.
And this bottom lane has lost some momentum. That top lane got going, the middle lane got going. Look at the 12 car. Look how many rows of track position he's lost. They're going to have to get organized here to get this track position back.
And they are coming up. They are just flying up on Alex Bowman. The wounded Alex Bowman down low. Oh, look at that. Look at the closing rate and the speed difference. And that's created separation in the pack.
Yes, the 99 car got split, and there he is going backwards.
Meanwhile, Zane Smith is being pushed by Trackhouse Racing's Ross Chastain.
Where are they going, though? Here comes the pack. It's going to be a big accordion effect as they close back in on the 1 and the 38.
That completely shuffled this entire field up. Let's see who comes out on top.
Larson's still hugging that low line. Now he's trying to come up and go with him. That's opened up an opportunity for Gilliland. Now a 3rd lane opens up with Chris Buscher. Look at this jostling.
get to the bottom, and when he did, Gilliland said, okay, I'm going to your outside with Larson pushing him.
38 and 34 teammates, front row teammates, Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland. Noah Gregson, the third car, was in an accident early.
Look at the push from Larson. You can feel the intensity picking up. The heart rates inside of these race cars has built and built and built, and now it is operating at a high level because they all know the opportunity for a huge wreck is right around the next corner.
Bubba Wallace was going with Chris Buescher. Now he's been able to catch Chris back up. Gives him a little shove. Through the tri-oval, crossing the line, 9 laps to go, and it's the front row motorsports teammates. Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland at the front of this field.
Look at this chaos of cars.
Let's go on board with William Byron with thanks to Valvoline. His teammate immediately ahead.
Half front. Half front. Half front. Quarter off you. Still middle.
Here comes the big push. Gilliland got a nice shove from Kyle Larson to zip by his teammate.
It's such a difficult decision for Todd right there in that 34 car. Go to the bottom or stay in the middle. Larson's done a really good job of pushing him. So now again, Todd gets way out in front of the pack, and here they come. What's Larson do? Really nowhere to go. Just push, push, push. The outside lane coming.
Third lane headed by Briscoe.
Let's get back up here. 19 is clear out the front. You are top of 3. Your help is closer to you. Top of 3. It'll be 7 to go at the strike.
3 lanes, fully active. 7 laps to go from this point.
Now all you can do is push, right? There's really nowhere else to go. You can make it 4 wide, but it gets really tight. So now Bubba Wallace knows he's got to push this 17 car Buescher.
And Buescher is pushing Briscoe all the way to the front.
So far, that bottom lane has not worked. It has drugged Blaney and Logano back multiple positions. Todd Gilliland jumped to the bottom. He has lost multiple positions, even with his teammate behind him pushing him. Oh,
6 to go.
Sight right there.
It is packed.
Everybody's starting to get closer together side by side. They're trying to side draft each other down the straightaway to slow down the line next to you.
Is Austin Hill going to make it a 3rd lane? Yes, he is. He's being pushed by Carson Hocevar.
Just to the left of Hill, that 41 of Cole Custer, Kyle Busch behind him. Casey Mears behind him. And that 66, that neon roof number in the middle of the pack.
Could this be the biggest day Chase Briscoe's ever had on a drafting track? And can he lock himself in to the championship 4? There's 5 laps to go as car number 5 goes to the front momentarily. Where's your favorite driver? Who do you like the look of? And how are the points going to stack up at the end of this one? It is all to play for. Larson now moves down into the 2nd groove. He's got Bubba Wallace right behind him and Christopher Bell in the 20. William Byron in 2nd. He'll tuck in behind race leader Chase Briscoe.
Look at this run the 5 car had. The 19 of Briscoe saw it coming, jumped up to the middle lane to block that run. Here comes the outside again. These guys are trying so hard to make the outside work, but too high. They moved Austin Hill out of there. He gave the bottom up, and now he's on the 4th lane. He is going to fall to the back.
William Byron, a week after having his heart broken, when he thought he was a chance to win in Vegas, and it just all came to a massive halt after slamming into the back of Ty Dillon, leads for the first time today with 3.5 laps to go.
Bubba Wallace with a big move to the bottom. Now what do the lanes behind them do? The 19 of Briscoe, the first one there. That should help this third lane. That mix-up of momentum could potentially help the third lane. There comes the 17 of Buescher.
Bubba Wallace has won here before. Could he get a second Talladega win in the same year that he won the Brickyard 400? Final 3 laps here in the YellaWood 500. Is it going to be a playoff driver who is celebrating a berth in the championship 4, or will it be a spoiler, a non-playoff driver?
Big run on the outside. Buescher's going to get all the way to the quarter panel of the 24. The 8 of Kyle Busch back in the pack, drives it in there 4 wide. He knows it's time to go. Is there enough time left for the driver of the 8?
Carson Hocevar on that top line. Ty Gibbs in the 54 is pushing.
That top lane of Buescher, that momentum got built up from a whole lap ago.
2 to go from here.
Back in that pack, Kyle Busch making it work with the 22 of Logano, trying to get on offense. Lost track position. He was in the back of the field. Here they come.
Buescher thought about it. William Byron goes lower. Larson is in the middle. Alex Bowman staying way out of the way. He goes down onto the apron, and around goes Chris Buescher. Buescher's in the fence.
Big impact, driver's side.
It is not the catalyst for the big one, but it takes the RFK driver out of the YellaWood 500.
You saw the movement, the dancing, the blocking. Chris Buescher gets spun off the front of the pack. You see his eyes close. Big hit for Chris Buescher.
Yeah, it was a huge hit. Wind and net coming down.
That's the only way people know how to drive these things.
Similar to the AMR safety team, that he's okay.
How to push without just slamming.
Yeah, pushes gone bad. We see it so many times. Blocks or pushes are typically how these wrecks happen, and that's it. So much momentum. It looked like Byron was getting a push from someone behind him as well. Let's see it right there. Yes, that's what happened. Hocevar with a big push into the 24 Byron, and then as soon as Byron gets to Buescher, he gets another hit, and around Buescher goes. That's what we talked about earlier. The spotter has to be telling all the drivers where the car is 3 rows in front, because there comes a point where you can no longer push.
Second time today, race leader has been taken out. Similar section of the track as well.
I mean, you're leading the race, right? You're in the position you want to be in, and you get spun around down the back straightaway. Look at him looking in the mirror. That's the digital mirror that he's looking at.
Oh, knows the big hit is coming.
That's such a big hit, guys. All that energy goes right through the driver's body. And what disappointment. Did nothing wrong at all, and his day is over. Watch his hands. He knows he's going to hit. Hands off the wheel. Try to prevent from injuring your wrist, your hands.
AMR safety team doing the outstanding job like they always do. Marty, there's action on pit road.
Yeah, Lee, we talked about how close these teams were cutting the fuel. Both Penske cars going to have to come to pit road, the 12 and the 22 coming to pit road here because they did not have enough fuel for an overtime. I asked Rudy Fugle a moment ago, William Byron, the leader, do you have enough for an overtime? He said 1, maybe.
Let's listen into the second place car of Kyle Larson.
Save all you can. no swerve. Should be good on fuel for this one and would be close if there was another one as well. Save all you can.
Save all you can and no swerve. Basically, don't go back and forth and kind of jostle the fuel up. What can happen is that the pump can actually pump some air and you get an air into the system. When you go to full power, there's actually a stumble. You don't want that as well. Free pass, I believe, is going to go to Denny Hamlin. He lost that lap with the throttle situation. We'll confirm that with NASCAR. I don't think that will be a factor, but you never know. We've seen crazier things in multiple overtimes.
Let's take you back to a year ago in this YellaWood 500. And with 5 laps to go, the big one. It basically took out the entire field. It was colossal.
This is what every driver knows when the intensity picks up and it's winning time. The desire to win at this racetrack is so great because it means so much to a driver's career. Winning a cup race is just a big deal. We saw it in Denny Hamlin, the emotions last week about how important it is to win. And the only way to win here is to put big blocks on and big pushes. And ultimately, it can work out, or you can end up on the back of a record.
Take a quick look at that graphic, 10 for 10. 10 different winners in the last 10 Talladega races. Do we make it 11 here this afternoon?
Well, first Byron, second Larson. Neither are on that list.
Brad Keselowski, he's still in the race, but he saw one of his teammates and one of his employees out in the hardest fashion. When in contention.
It's pretty interesting, Steve, the strategy played by the Penske drivers, crew chiefs rather, in regard to the strategy of how much fuel to put on. It makes you believe that they were in a must-win situation. They didn't gain enough points in the first 2 stages, so they just didn't get enough fuel in there in case of an opportunity for overtime.
Well, let's hear from Cliff Daniels, crew chief, to Kyle Larson. He's with Kim Kuhn.
That's right, and his driver currently running second to teammate William Byron, so this is a spot in the championship for. Never won here at a super speedway. What do you want to see from your driver in this overtime restart?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we've had a decent day of execution. Really proud of the team, proud of Kyle, everybody on the HendrickCars.com Chevy for just keeping us in the game. Our handling and speed was off a little bit at first, not really sure where that came from. Made a few just small adjustments on the car, and you guys know how these speedway races are. You just got to execute and be there at the end. So luckily we're in a good spot now. If we get another green-white checkered, I'm just not too sure about fuel for us or for anybody else, but if we stay clean, we got a shot, so we'll see how it goes.
It's out of your hands, so what are the nerves like for you on top of the box?
Well, I just want to make sure that in my position, I'm giving Kyle all the communication we can, you know, to know how to save and all the things we're looking forward to kind of know where we are on fuel. So a little bit out of our hands, but still trying to be involved and communicate well, bring us home.
Think about how they were communicating at the beginning of the race. Larson was saying, I'm slow, I need more. Cliff was saying, you need to save fuel, you're not giving me the number. Right. And here we are all these laps later. He's got a chance to win for the first time on a super speedway, but he's up against his Hendrick Motorsports teammate.
Coming to the choose, Jeff, I would assume the teammates are going to start nose to tail unless they think they can cover the front row and let each other in, but that would seem to be a risky situation on a final restart.
Yeah, let's see what they do. You can see they're running different speeds because they have their engines shut off, right? And they'll shut them off at different times. So one will be going forward and the other one's going backwards. But let's see what happens. I do think that there is an opportunity to start nose to tail and then switch just past the start-finish line, but it has to be executed perfectly if they choose that.
They're going to split the front row, and they're going to cover the front row. So they're going to start side by side, Hendrick cars side by side on the front row. Now the good news is side by side is, I take this back one thing. I know they're teammates, and Kyle Larson looks good on points, but I also think they have to, they can't try to win at the expense of the other, meaning wrecking or things like that. But at the same time, I believe you also have to try to win your race. And we'll see whether they work together here on the restart or whether they drag race side by side. If they do stay side by side, Is the 77 or the 23? Who is your preferred pusher, I guess, becomes the next question.
We know that many of you turn on at different times. For those of you turning on lately, let's get you back to a race recap so you can see what has gone down so far. And this was a significant multi-car crash in stage 1. This was AJ Allmendinger, the race leader. Huge hit.
Yeah, 2 of the wrecks we've seen, the race leader got involved in it, had nothing to do with it. This took out a lot of cars simply from pushing and shoving, trying to make your lane go faster. AJ, in a great deal of pain, had the breath knocked out of him. He's okay now.
Unfortunately, it took Chase Elliott out of the race. This was an unusual incident involving Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, loses control, under braking. There was a little bit of water weeping up between the seams. He gets his rear tires in it. He gets spun out, luckily not collecting. And then this final wreck right here, a push on the outside, catches the 17 who was trying to pick up that push, spins him very quickly to the inside, and a big impact on the inside wall.
And that leaves us in an overtime situation. This is Chris Buescher. Look at him. Look at the eyes. He knows the big hit's coming. Hands off the wheel. Crowd reaction. And that was when the RFK Ford driver had a chance to win. He was at the front of the pack. This brings us to a green-white checker overtime situation presented by Credit One Bank. Who do you have? Who do you like? And who's going to perform the biggest on the big track? Back to racing, and the teammates on the front row. William Byron on the inside, Kyle Larson on the outside. Who's going to make the right decision at the right time? Hocevar in the 77. Pushing William Byron, Bubba Wallace pushing Kyle Larson. The teammates on the third row from Joe Gibbs Racing.
Someone's got to make it 3 wide at some point. Who's the first one to do it?
Look at that top line, they're stuck together. Absolutely stuck together. Kyle Busch says, Jeff, I was thinking about making a third lane. Yeah, I will make a third lane.
Up front, big push on the top right here. The 23, will he stay with the 5? He will so far. He's going to push the 5 out to the lead. Will the 5 go down the block? He will, and the 23 will jump to his outside.
But the 23 has good momentum for the 19. Good push. Now the bottom lane is more organized.
3 playoff drivers in the top 4 positions. Bubba Wallace doesn't care about that. He wants another win at Talladega. Kyle Larson's trying to get his first ever win on a super speedway. Wallace has half a car length at the moment. The Hendrick teammates, what's happened? Look at this, Larson is out. Maybe out of gas. That leaves Wallace. Here comes Briscoe on the inside. Ty Gibbs has got a chance. Gilliland's got a chance. Tucked up on that low line. The Joe Gibbs Racing teammates with Bubba Wallace up high. They're in the shadows of the tri-oval. Briscoe, Wallace, Gibbs. Chase Briscoe's going to get his first win on a super speedway and lock his way into the championship 4. Byron spins through into the shadows. It's Briscoe's big time on the big track.
Yeah.
He joins his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Denny Hamlin in locking in a berth in Phoenix.
All day, man. Everyone.
Chase Briscoe talked about this week how he felt like he was still proving that he belonged in this car. He continues to prove it.
Right here, you see the pushing. And watch the 24. He's going to get spun around right here off the nose of the 77, just trying to push him. He loses 24 points in the tri-oval as 3 wide behind for the 19, who easily wins it. It all changed when the 5, I think, ran out of gas. On board with the 24. 24 points in a quarter mile, Jeff.
Right. That is just what's so disappointing for a driver, to have a good day and it all go away. He's running 3rd or 4th, right? And everybody's just pushing and shoving. Here's Larson with the problem.
I thought they were in good position right here because I thought he was backing up to the 24, but then when he pulled out of line, we knew it was an issue. So now the 24 is looking for help. They do a nice job kind of going back to the offense as the 19 turns left. did a really good job. And how about Ty Gibbs in that 54, sticking to the rear bumper of this 19, giving him a good shove out front.
And here's a pushing and shoving, just trying to get to the line. 20 into the back of the 77, and 77 into the 24. They just got misaligned, and around goes the 24. We talked about it all day long. Pushing in the tri-oval is dangerous, and you saw it. The end result for William Byron was terrible. From a top 5 finish, maybe a win if Larson doesn't run out of gas, all the way back in 25th.
He came into the race at Talladega 25-1 to win it today, and Chase Briscoe said, "Not so fast, my friends." And welcome to the Championship 4 for the first time ever. Chase Briscoe, everyone. The Indiana native delivers here in Central Alabama. Wow, kind of heard tears in your eyes on that cool down lap. Go grab the checkered flag, absolutely, and wave it to these Talladega fans here, Chase. From your windshield, how in the world did those final few laps play out?
Ty Gibbs, just incredible teammate there. I mean, I honestly would not have won that race without Ty. So just an amazing team effort. I can't believe I won a super speedway race. I haven't done it at any level anyways. Thank you guys so much. Every time we come to Talladega, this place is sold out, and this is an unbelievable atmosphere. I cannot believe I won here. Johnny Morris is here with Bass Pro Shops, and yeah, it's not hit me. We're going to Phoenix.
You have raced for a championship in the Xfinity Series, but this is the first time in the Championship 4 for a Joe Gibbs or for you and Cup. Is this a dream come true?
Yeah, absolutely. Just so thankful that the Lord's blessed me, you know, opening doors and even closing doors at times, but certainly, you know, open an incredible door here with Joe Gibbs Racing. And yeah, I mean, God is so good. I say it all the time. And even today, I just had such a peace. Normally I'm scared to death, nervous wreck around this place. And I just had such a peace that regardless of the finish, he was going to use it, you know, somehow for his glory. And pretty cool that it ends up in victory lane.
All right, now 2 Joe Gibbs Racing cars into the Championship 4, Lee. Chase Briscoe wins it at Talladega.
The 30-year-old from Mitchell, Indiana, is on his way to Phoenix to try and win a championship. And he said before these playoffs began, if we can get to the Championship 4, there's no reason we can't go all the way. Well, Chase Briscoe, Joe Gibbs Racing, they've just given themselves another chance. 2 drivers already locked in. Chase Briscoe the latest. We've got a whole lot more here in Talladega. What a finish.
We are the ones at the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road was rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when you see it in lights. We are the champions. We are the champions. We will fight through the pain. We'll be legends tonight. We are the champions. We are the champions.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.